budget discussion. I'll pull that spreadsheet up so we can all have eyes on it. So it is. Tom, are you ready for it?
You're recording.
Cool, thank you. 9:03 a.m. April 7th. We got a regular meeting of the Lodging Tax Advisory Board. Let's get a roll call. Eric? Present. Luann? Present. Chris? Yep. And Kyle is not with us today. I did also receive her formal resignation letter, so I'll share it out with you guys. Victor, you'll probably have to run that up to. Yeah. So we'll be looking for a new member again already. So if you know anybody, put the word out.
So Kevin Potts Brown is on the creative board. Is there a conflict if she's on this one as well?
No.
Yeah, plenty of people on multiple boards. So.
I'm just saying I'm gonna recommend that we, and I can reach out to her.
Sure.
Isn't the conflict about that she's on their board and Kevin is on the organization, not that Kevin's on other boards? That's what I thought the question was.
The creative, yeah, the creative.
No.
No, she's talking about the creative.
I understand.
Creative board yet.
I understand. If I said, I want a member of my board of directors to be on the LTAB, wouldn't that not be a conflict of interest? And I think you're on the board of Kevin's group.
Just
you
that
accused
one.
yourself from the grant.
Yes,
That's my question.
I don't see it as such because it goes up through council.
Sure. They
You know,
do the vetting.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, exactly. It's not really directly related to your work on the Wellness Festival outside of the grants, and just like, again, you guys have done with our grant evaluations, just recuse yourselves from those conversations.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
If they
before I
both
get back here.
recuse themselves, then we wouldn't have a quorum.
We would have 3 out of 5.
I guess we would.
Yeah.
I was saying, Vicky, okay, that's true. Okay.
So, I mean, we'll cross that bridge. I would say we had such difficulties filling this board and keeping it filled that I don't want to limit our pool too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she's great.
I mean, and she has the background.
Who is that?
Kevin Potts Brown.
Yeah, you said marketing background, right?
Yeah.
She was the, you know who she is though in terms of the grant that we evaluated last session though, right?
She did the wellness.
She's the organizer of the
wellness
wellness, and I guess she wrote the grant.
She did.
Yeah, and you can tell how well that grant was put
She owns
together.
recruiting beads, right?
Yes,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
How can we, it's not super important, but how can we convince the council or the city to let us vet somebody, find somebody we know that'll work with what we're doing, and then present it to them to approve or disapprove? We used to do that, and it was never a problem.
That's kind of what you're asking, right?
Well, mostly, that we convince some folks to
apply.
put their name in,
Yeah.
which is in
'Cause I
some
know
ways
I
accomplishing the same thing.
I didn't meet you guys before.
Right.
No.
I do think
That's not a part of the official process.
Right.
Yes, and I'm with Chris. It doesn't make sense that, we didn't know you. Don't know anything about you.
No.
You can be fantastic or abysmal. We have no clue. Or
We
if
still
we-
don't know.
Yeah, and no input at all. Right.
Right.
But at least this way, I think what Chris is talking about, what Joe's talking about, is we can be a little bit more proactive in the process.
I think so.
If the mayor comes, maybe ask her, because she.
I think it's something we probably have to bring to council. In general, I think it would be great to at least be able to offer our opinion. Like, it can still be a council decision, but to share the applications with us so we could say, if it was our choice, this would be our number one candidate.
Because they don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even see that. I have no idea who. I didn't even know Erica was on arts and culture.
Till I showed up for a meeting that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, let's put a pin in that just because we have the agenda looks light, but it's not at all. This is going to be a fairly lengthy meeting. So, but I like that idea. I think we're all in agreement that we would like to have some level of say in who would join the board ultimately. So,
And not so much because we want to choose them, just that we can help vet them.
right.
The council, I doubt if any one of them has the expertise. Si has marketing experience, but expertise to really vet them, nor the time. Anyway,
Yeah,
Do you want to move the agenda until Site gets here and just go straight to the grants?
well, first we got to do minutes approval real quick. And then we'll get into grant scoring while we're waiting for Sai, you haven't had a chance to review the minutes from the 17th. Eric, I haven't been pulling them out for you or anything.
Thank you.
Does
If you,
everybody have access to the drive now?
I got access to something last time we were here, which was really nice, and it was the notebook.
Yes.
So that's where all the minutes live. And then Victor did upload the grants there. If you're in the notebook, I think you should be able to get onto the shared folders as well, because it's just another area of shared.
I think we decided though that that's really not a good place.
Yeah, we should keep the
I'm
notebook
not, I'm not real familiar with the notebook, all that. I'm sure you with Google and
Mhm.
so I wasn't really sure how to, if that was the proper place.
Yeah, OneNote is basically a way to organize notes. They kind of nest within each other. So that's where all the minutes live. I don't think it's best to use it as a document library.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the same structure. So within Microsoft 365, it would be, I think it's probably OneDrive, and there's a lodging tax advisory board area. So for example, for our grant applications here, first I shared them on a G Drive just to make sure everyone could get them. I know you can't get in there on the city, if you're logged in as a city though. So I sent another link that has all the grant stuff in the OneDrive also.
Okay.
So if you click on that link, they'll probably bring you there,
Okay.
and then you can bookmark it.
Yeah, the embedding with the email was fantastic for me because I just went back and forth between the forms.
So,
and the grants.
so did I.
Cool. Thank you.
And then I don't know if everyone saw my note. I'm getting ahead of myself here. We're still waiting on minutes, but a few of the grant uploads originally were missing some pages, so we do have some printouts. I think mainly Fancy Spider. Seems like we're all pretty much in agreement on that scoring wise, regardless of the application. I do want to do them justice by making sure we see the full thing. But AR Mitchell was the big one because we don't know their actual ask. That page is missing with the dollar amount. So we'll have to take a look at that one once we get to it.
You can still evaluate without that figure. Just
Yeah, well, the second and the third pages also have quite a bit of the application in
Of the
terms
marketing.
of marketing plan. So before we get there, do I have any motion to approve the minutes from our previous meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Moved, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Minutes approved from the meeting on March 17th. So on to new business, we'll hold on the billboard proposal that's coming from Sai. And I just wanted to build in some time in case she had some questions, Q&A type stuff. I am going to council tonight. We'll get to that later on the board member reports. So I can update her there as well. But, having been on the tourism board in the past, she might have some questions or some input that we can consider. So just wanted to make sure we have that in the agenda too. So yeah, we'll circle back to those once she arrives, and then we'll jump on the grant application scoring in the meantime. I'm going to pull up my screen so we can all be looking at the same numbers. Before we start on the scores, I really want to just refresh everybody on where we stand on the remaining budget, because this is going to be kind of a brutal evaluation, just based on what the numbers are at.
Well, we had talked a little bit about that before. That's part of what I wrote.
last
I
night.
don't know how that happened,
It's all good. I should have actually opened them, or I just dumped everything in a folder and sent it out. So.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
All right. Grant application. So, our previous meeting, here's where we were. I got this up on the screen. After the update from Tara, we had the 5K to KCRT, 5K to World Journal, $12.50 to Return Visitors Guide. So the remaining funds before our recommendations last meeting were these numbers. So $57,000 in advertising and marketing, $108,225 in recreation, $18,000 in arts and culture, $9K miscellaneous. So that's basically what we're looking at for our grants and also our ad buys.
Can I ask a question about that? I wasn't clear. I just didn't have time to go back and look at that. Are we already committed, is the city already committed to a certain ad buy or amount to Cherry Road Media?
Yeah, so I was hoping for clarity on that too, because I don't know if it's been executed or not. I don't know if you have any intel, Victor. Tara told me that they would be doing 5K, so it would be the same as the World Journal. Like to be
I think it's happened yet, but I will double check on that.
Got it.
Not to get really fussy about it, it just would be nice to know that, to understand that.
Yeah.
Because we keep finding out about this stuff.
Right, and another item on that one, we get to miscellaneous later too. That's
Okay.
another thing the city's doing that I have a feeling is coming out of the recreational budget, so.
The fishing.
The fishing tournaments, yeah, there's 2 fishing tournaments.
I've heard about those, and I assumed that money was coming from us. I also knew that we hadn't been advised about that.
The,
Bocce's not that big a deal, it's $1,000, but when
Yeah.
it's 5K buy, and you've got, that's 10% of the available budget that you think
It
has been allotted for you
It's
to
where everybody's on
allot.
the same page it is coming from.
it is, yes.
So
Did they-
the fishing tournament, 5,000, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's more than that too, because
Okay.
there's a youth one with
There's
prizes.
yeah, I think
That one's
there's
lower,
2. It's a little, probably around, I would say 8,000 maybe.
all in, something like that, yeah. I think it's-
Because they're second, third place.
So,
Luann, this is for me, this is one of the ongoing frustrations of being on the LTAP board, is that this stuff comes to us and we don't know about it until
Yeah.
afterwards.
And it comes out of
We're
our budget.
allegedly given a budget,
Yeah.
but we don't really get to spend that.
Yeah.
And then later on, there'll be something else.
And it's a little extra frustrating just because, when I sat down with Laura, this was quite explicit where we talked about these other items that have been committed, and I said, we just need to know. Like, ultimately, I think that the fishing tournament is a cool idea. I probably wouldn't be objecting to it if it hits our desk, but we just need to be aware of it. And so I think that just means it's as simple as like copying you on an email, just saying, we're looking at taking this money for a fishing tournament while they're planning it,
Let the board know.
and then you can let us know. That's all we're looking for.
And on the and I don't know this, but I'm saying on the bocce and on the fishing tournament, there's entry fees on both.
That might offset.
That are, there's 16 teams on bocce, $20 buy-in. I'm just saying that would pretty much cover the prize money. And so there's a $100 buy-in, I believe, on the fishing tournament. And so I'm just
You said
thinking that some of that's gonna offset the prize money.
In
And
our
so-
budget or just in the overall cost? Because I would do that if I were running an event. I would say, here's what the cost of doing is, here's what my cost to do that is, irrespective of the
Yeah,
entry fee.
well, and I can't imagine that the I can't imagine that the
if
bocce
it's 20
tournament,
in a team, that's only $320.
that's true too, and the prizes.
Um,
I knew there was gonna be some offset.
Yeah,
There should be some offset.
So you think that would be?
and again,
And does that affect us?
Yeah,
Or is that just,
exactly.
we're contributing out of our budget, so to speak, and that's that?
Yeah, right,
right,
and I don't know that.
I think it's coming out of the recreational bucket.
it would be, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, sure.
My assumption would be that whatever revenue is generated from entry fees offsets the overall cost of the events, and then the balance comes out of our budget. So the final number, we won't know until the event's concluded. But again, it's just having that conversation. And maybe that means that Felicia comes to a meeting, because she seems to be the one taking point on planning those. So she could be present if she's available, or we could schedule something at a different time. Or I can meet with her individually and bring that back to the board. Whatever works, it's just getting that line of communication on that. So, that being said, if we do need to update these numbers because we allocated $7,500 to the Wellness Fest. I think that should be recreational, since it is kind of outdoor and movement focused. So that does come out of our biggest bucket at least. And then we awarded Get Lit 2,000, which would be arts and cultural. So that brings that balance down to 16K.
Right.
So for today, 16,000 in arts and culture. Call it ballpark 100K or maybe 90K with these other city programs. Let's say 90,000 for outdoor rec. We don't have an exact number there. And then 57K in marketing and advertising. So that's what we're looking at today. We obviously do not need to spend it all. And should leave some in reserve. We got most of the year still ahead of us. But I'm kind of glad we got, this is like pretty much all the grants we would normally see in a year based on the last couple of years. Chris, it's the repeat applicants. They're all on the table.
And for Main Street Live and for the Mitchell, I mean, these are their events this year this is the ask for the full year or so.
Right, and I do think that does warrant a bit of discussion in terms of, the kind of grants philosophy, right? Where I don't inherently have the issue with supporting ongoing programming, but are we trying to gear this more towards this is like this single event, this is the way that I want to support that event and getting really specific versus it seems like both the Mitchell and Main Street Live applications are a little more like, well, this is supporting us through the whole year for everything that we're doing. So that could just be worth talking about, and I think that helps people in the grant application process too, if we can be very clear as to what the expectations are, what we're looking to forward. So let me just get these numbers really quick up on the board for us, and I'll pull up our scores. Does any, Luann, would you want to, with this in hands, go ahead and score that?
I can do that. It's gonna be high.
Sure.
I mean, I can do that.
Yeah, it sounds like Chris, you and I were in the same mind where we went ahead and just scored maybe or two. Basically with that in mind, like, the Mitchell is something that we would like to support. So mostly it would just affect scoring on probably completing a singularity of application.
Yeah, because I had, pretty much nothing there.
You still going to council?
Going to council tonight. Yep. You guys are welcome to come if you would like.
Yeah.
6 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be first after the formalities, so don't need to be there too long. I don't have everything prepared yet, but I'm not going to do a presentation per se. I'm just going to come with pretty much these numbers in hand, look through our minutes from the past year to get some highlights on what we've been doing, and kind of talk a bit about what we were talking about at the start of the meeting here in terms of working through kinks with the city and the board and figuring out, how much autonomy we have and just kind of cleaning that type of stuff up so they're aware of it too. I may also plant the seeds for a potential ordinance change. We've not discussed that as a board, but I do just want to say that door is open. So if you guys are all in agreement on that, just to say that we are not married to the current structure of the ordinance. We just think that the board.
Just an FYI though, on the Mitchell, we would have to choose an exhibit that the board is sponsoring. Unless because the whole goal of this is just to provide to one event, not a year-round event, or to support something that's year-round. It's specific to events.
Well, this says 3 major art shows, and
Right.
it's similar to the MSL grant, and then it's supporting a number of activities.
And that's kind of what I would think too.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the NSL for kind of, for the year.
Yeah, I think what I'm really trying to say is that they would have to make sure that our city logo is on all 3 of those.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. Sure.
to support all three, yeah.
I gotcha.
It's easy to do.
Yeah. Uniform colors.
Okay, so got our remaining funds up here. Scoring wise, scoring. So, I guess let's start with low score ones, so we can just talk about them quickly. The ones that did not meet thresholds. So, recommendation ranges. We did end up voting to award Get Lit, even though it technically had fallen below 60. So we also could look at changing these ranges because right now it's 90 to 100 strongly recommend, 75 to 89 recommend, 60 and up consider if we have funds, and then below 60 should just be out. So Get Lit was something like 58, 59, and we went ahead and awarded it. So out of these, everything except Summer Passport is above a 60. So Summer Passport, we're at 55, round up to 56. So that's one that we would not recommend. Looks like overall, decent alignment with tourism goals, low economic impact, highly feasible, okay on marketing. We think that they can definitely do it. It's good for the community. Lodging tax impact really low.
Yes.
And this is what I really want to kind of hone in on today personally, because we have to be so mindful on our spend. Permission as a board is number one is heads and beds, and so we need to think about the potential of lodging tax impact and kind of have that weighted relatively highly. So yeah, I don't know if we need to really talk about anything else there. School program, I think it's kind of pricey at their quantities. They can't go below 1,000. So it sounds like we'll probably be spending money with the Chronicle anyway. What I was thinking, and we'll get to this once we get to ads, is that we do some local stuff so we can still promote things that are going on in the city locally, but that we look at their other papers, especially in maybe Kansas.
That actually was closer than their Texas outlets. Yes.
Yeah.
And we talked about billboards to reach Texas visitors, but I agree. Yeah.
So we can still be throwing them some bones in terms of some spends, but we'll do it on the ad side instead of on this passport program. It looks like we would recommend not allocating grant funding towards that. Does anyone else have anything on the Silver Passport? I guess we do need to have a formal vote, so it would take a motion.
Do you want to do it bit by bit and approve, not approve for funding? Is that how?
Well, I'm looking at the ones that were, that's the only one actually.
Oh,
It's below
okay.
score threshold, so we can just clear it off.
Yes.
After that, I think, we'll have to discuss each one and then go back to vote because, just because of the monies being limited in each bucket. So.
If you want to motion, I should. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'll make the motion, so.
Second.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor of not providing grant funds to the Summer Passport program?
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous.
That's a yes or a no.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
All right. So, gonna keep working backwards on score. So next up would be A.R. Mitchell. Did you just put that in?
I did put it in, but I can't get it to you. So if you'll.
Oh, are you not on Wi-Fi?
Apparently not.
There's the,
Yeah, here's that.
Oh, well, oh.
Otherwise, if you want to just tell me your scores, I
Yeah.
can just plug them
I
in.
can put it back in there.
Yeah, that works too.
So the alignment, I'm just going down the list, okay? 12, 8, 10, 4, 10, 9, 8, 5, and probably a 7 for the completeness.
Got it. Thank you. Cool, so that did bumped up a little bit, so we're at 63.75, which would be award as funding allows. So, yeah, do you want to kick us off just talking about the niche? They're looking total funding, their request is 10K, and they do say that will be used exclusively for advertising and marketing. So we do have a little more money there if that's their bucket versus the arts and culture. Would cut into any ad plan that we have. So we're at 57,000 approximately in the remaining ad budget. So that's where we would be pulling from. So at that, I'll kind of put it out on the table.
We can do multiple buckets though, right?
No,
No, we cannot. It can only be.
this actually can only be pulled from arts and culture, because they are arts and culture. You guys can pull from arts and culture with Main Street Group, and the Main Street, they are Mitchell, and Mount Carmel, so that's 16,000.
Well, so they state in the application that the funds will be used only for advertising and marketing. So I think that we should be able to fit that in the ad and the promotion budget.
See, we've been talking about this for 2 months. Last 2 meetings I attended, we talked about that because we only had 16,000. We said we can pull that money. So the grant that I wrote was based on that. The grant that they wrote was based on that. So and Fancy, there's just no way to grant. If what you're saying is the organization, if I was representing the LULAC and I was doing a car show, is that going to politics? Is that going to society? Or is that going to tourism? Because I'm trying to pull in people into town. Even though I'm a political or a social organization as LULAC, I'm not an arts organization. But I'm doing a car show. That's arts and culture? Or is that tourism?
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be a singular bucket for each grant application, but that it would be board discretion as to which those would be based on the grant application itself. I'm assuming this is guidance you're getting down from the city manager's office. So
she ultimately has to approve it, and she's not going to approve these.
yeah, I mean, I'd be glad to be with her on this. This is one that I really think we could make a strong case for. Again, because we're boxed in by the way the buckets are set up, they're asking for it to use it for advertising and marketing. So yeah, it's an arts and cultural institution, but they will be using it to promote their shows. To me, it's the same as if we directly as a board went out and promoted their shows for them and spent ad budget.
Yeah.
Instead, they're just executing it. So
I'm just letting you know that it's not going to happen. It's just going to have to come out of that straight bucket of arts.
It's not gonna happen unless you can convince her.
Yes.
This would be another case of where our understanding here in
Yes.
this room does not match.
I'm
what's
sorry,
coming down
that's
the
just
line, and we're in
those
the middle of
orders
this
from
process.
city manager.
yeah,
As we
I'll
talked
talk to her
about
about
this,
it.
and the chair gave that idea.
I still think we should go ahead and approve.
Years ago.
Right.
That would be a good point of clarification.
You can convince her.
Because I based some of my scoring and my
Knowledge
thinking
that
about
he
this.
did.
Then if you guys do that, you're going to have to come back and redo everything.
That's okay.
Okay.
So it's a time.
Thank you. Because we just do not have enough in arts and culture to spread that money.
I agree. I'm not arguing with anybody.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that's what the guidance from the city manager's office is coming from. And
Yeah, it
she's
doesn't make
not-
any sense to me at all. I'm sorry, it just does not. If a hotel is gonna put up an arts event, then it's an arts event. Because they're having it at a hotel doesn't mean it is the arts.
There's,
You know, so, if I got to use the stage at the Hilton, that's an arts event, but it's being put on by somebody else. I get that, but they are also a hotel. That's their business, and so they can spend, they can create an event that would fulfill a number of aims.
Yes, I think that we are almost on the same page here
Okay.
on the board side.
Okay.
What I think,
I'm not trying to be the bad guy.
no, you're not. We understand you get what you're doing.
Yeah.
what I think needs to be our case is to focus on the grant. And so, again, the place where we might differ is that I don't think that we should split grants, an individual grant out over multiple buckets, because that could create a difficult path for the finance department in terms of allocating those monies. But I think that if someone's coming to us and saying, this is a recreational event, but I'm gonna spend the money only on advertising, that's the way that the board used to function, was all the money's given out were strictly just to promote your event. So
That was our discussion about the Get Lit Festival, was our discussion about Skateland, is that we were looking at what she was doing and said, well, this doesn't quite fit, right? The thing that is described in the grant isn't necessarily one of the purposes.
Yeah. So yeah, I would just focus on what the grant's applying for. So yeah, when we get to Main Street Live, that's obviously going to be a bit of a can of worms there.
But I think it's true in the Mitchell as well, right?
Yeah, well, to some extent. Again,
I mean,
they're asking for this for ads. So to me, it comes out of the ad budget.
And you're saying no?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I'm hearing an impasse. Yeah.
Well, that means that we hold our vote, and then we go and we talk to the manager's office, we talk to council if needed. And that is going to drag things out for the Mitchell, assuming that we vote to approve some level funding. Haven't done that yet.
Right.
That's just where we're at for the moment. So we have to have further discussions to try and make that case out to the city.
If we could go in and say, well, Victor didn't tell us that.
I do that, please.
So mostly, if we go that route, Victor, do you have an understanding of where we're coming from in terms of?
No, I
Yeah.
totally do.
So you're gonna be the first person to relay that.
Right, it's just we have to follow what the ordinance says.
Yeah, and I would say that's open to interpretation.
That's up to interpretation.
That's the
Right.
beauty of law, right?
Yeah.
With the laws that you can interpret it. Okay, so Mitchell, we're at 63.75 as our updated average. We did pretty highly on alignment with tourism goals. Oh, I did want to note one thing real quick. I think, Chris, these are probably your scores. Did you note, I saw this on Fancy Spider and then this one on Mitchell. The first two categories are about 15 out of 10. It looked like somebody here, second person to submit scores, was rating out of 10 for tourism alignment and economic impact.
My memory's not good enough to remember that was, I did look at it at 10.
Yeah, so I rounded up your Fancy Spider scores to 13 out of 15.
Okay.
We can change those
Right,
right
that's
now.
fine.
Would you want to adjust the AR Mitchell for
Yeah,
those two?
same way, yeah.
So 8 to,
At least 12, yeah. 15, yeah.
and then you have 5 on economic impact.
I would go next.
Leave it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that bumps things up just 1 point.
So we're at 65.
We'll do that again for Mount Carmel too when we get to it. So yeah, we're at about 65 on that.
Okay.
So we're talking about all these through. Anything else on the Mitchell? I mean, for me, their programming is great. I think tourism goals and economic impacts. For one thing, some of these are really large shows with dozens of artists even, and so at a minimum, everyone who's in the show is coming, or at least half, 3/4 of those people. They're probably bringing some friends and family. I just think there's a really strong case for each show actually bringing people to town for a First Friday, and they're going to stay overnight. So
I think in terms of like heads and beds.
right,
Again, the Fancy Spider and probably the Mitchell would draw the most.
yeah, I have to agree with that. But those are the best potential for impact on the lodging fund.
Well, if you look at it logically too, AR Mitchell, Main Street Live, some Mount Carmel, some of the other things that happen, all are like a collective that together people will come to Trinidad because we have this. So they really work together to be a draw, a tourism draw. It's kind of gray, I guess, or little hard to evaluate. The common sense would tell you that, okay, let's go ahead and go to Trinidad because they got this and this and this and this. And, it's not a big festival they're going to, I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. And last time we talked about Main Street Live, for example, first pass I was going to vote no. And Kyle kind of swung me just speaking about community theater being a draw, and it made me think about, as a kid, we would go to Wisconsin. There was community theater at this park that we went to, and we always went. But my question would be, in terms of the actual singular events, the potential for people to be traveling here and staying. And I do think that we can kind of create some tiers based on that alone. We'll look at the scores to see if there are other areas that will help us move things up or down, but I still feel Mount Carmel, out of all these, least potential to pull people from out of town. It's a good community programming type of stuff.
And I think we definitely need to help and support that.
Yeah, I don't want it to go away. Again, it's a thing where if you're here, you find out it's happening, you might go attend for something to do that night. It is not something that's going to bring people from our target markets to visit Trinidad. But it keeps the town having, a certain level of culture and activity that makes it a desirable place to visit overall.
And there's no way of judging it, but, maybe, we went to that last year, it was this time, that's happening. It can build.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
sure.
one of the reasons you keep funding or keep helping.
Yes.
Well, it's certainly the theory behind Santa Fe Trail Days. You keep doing that festival, people show up from outside of town, and you do a good job on it, they'll come back and bring friends.
So,
Which is out of our bucket, which is why I brought that up.
Mount Carmel would be the next one. Actually ranked higher, which I was a little surprised about.
Wait, I'm sorry, what did you just say?
We haven't voted. We're gonna these
You're just going over that.
because we don't have enough money. So we're gonna go through the rest of them, and then we're gonna have to talk about dollar amounts and do some votes from there. But the bulk of these are arts and culture, so there's just not very much money left there. Mount Carmel, 65 points, scored well, but not as high as the Mitchell on tourism goals. Economic impact, kind of average. High feasibility, slightly above average marketing. I actually ranked that really poorly. I like that they actually provided evidence of what they're doing in the paper, but their ads are kind of a cluttered mess.
Yep.
And I don't really see their promotion. So to me, as a local person, they should be targeting. That's a knock for me. Organization capacity high, they've done this before. Community benefit high, we just kind of talked about that a little bit. Lodging tax impact low.
Yes.
That's also lower than the Mitchell. So I think it's interesting that technically it's only a half point higher, but that they scored higher, but kind of our critical areas, aligning with tourism goals, lodging tax impact, and economic impact, the Mitchell scores higher across the board.
Well, to follow up on that, organizational capacity high, community benefit high, clarity and completeness high. So those three brought it up for me, and the feasibility is also near the top of the range as well. And economic impact on the higher side of the middle of the spectrum, but I gave it an 8 out of 15. So it's not a low score, but a sort of mid score.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's what pushed some of the stuff up.
Yeah, no, mostly I call out those three categories as, being, in my opinion, more central to our mission. So if we're trying to nitpick between them, going back to tourism, lodging impact, economic impact, to me are the big three to kind of make the hard decisions there. And on those, the Mitchell ranked high. So I just want to call that out as we start looking at how much money to push where.
What was the final score on Mount Carmel? Sorry, 65. Yeah, just a tick higher, I suppose, huh?
But lower across those key categories.
No, I'm sorry, a tick higher than the Mitchell. I
Yes.
guess is what you're saying, right?
Correct. The composite score is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But again, I think that is skewed because of those reasons.
Right, and that's worth keeping in mind for our scoring rubric as well, that we can revise that if we so choose. So both the recommendation ranges and then would we want to weight some of these other things higher than others. So right now, the heaviest weighted are these two. Both-
Look, it's the mayor.
both of which-
Sorry about that.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome.
Hi, you guys are all working hard.
We're
Trying to.
Yes, indeed. Well, in respect for our mayor's time, we want to put a pin on grants.
Well, we're kind of at the end, I guess, of Mount Carmel, right? So.
Yeah,
So we just
we haven't talked about their application itself, just the scoring, so we could get a little more broad on that too.
Okay.
But yeah, we can go ahead and jump over here real quick. And where's the cursor?
So how's everybody doing?
Good.
Great, thank you for joining us.
I'm really excited to be here. Sorry about the thing. I had a different appointment later today, but they called and said they couldn't do it unless it was there at 8:30 this morning, so I had to go in at 8:30. And like everything takes time. I'm supposed to be somewhere at 9 o'clock. I'm supposed to be somewhere at 9 o'clock. Okay.
It's like,
That's all good.
Yeah.
I know how busy you were.
Just glad you're
working,
here.
man.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. It is really so joyful. It truly is. We have, with both hotels, we have a real interest in all the employees understanding that they're working for the city of Trinidad too. We all know at the hotels how important it is to send people downtown. And so we're passionate about it everywhere we go. We have people that never come downtown that work with us, that they themselves know what's going on because they better know what's going on. Or I'll jump over the front desk to grab the person to let them know where they can really go. But no, everybody is really grateful. There's always naysayers, there's always negative people, but you gotta move beyond that. If you wanna do good, you just gotta, when people say negative things, take it into consideration because it is important. And move on and do good, because if you get stuck up in all the minutia of the negativity, we can't accomplish good things. We accomplish good things because we know there's good out there. Every person in this room has stayed in Trinidad for some reason, and it's because we have had so much love for the area and we see its potential. And not only its potential, what it is. It's really a great small community. If you want to go from wherever you want to live to your job, 10 minutes, and that's even walking to your car before you turn the key on. There's so many beautiful things about raising children, having families, having the connections. There's almost a little bit of old school here that if Victor had family or had a child we would all be going, we're going to tell Victor what you're doing. We're going to be, right? That is old school stuff. That's how kids were raised before, is that the connection of the community helps raise children and each other. And that's why all these art projects that go on with the youth or all the other great things, we're all influences to the youth around us. We don't have youth next to us, we forget that. But we got hundreds and hundreds of kids in town that are looking at us as adults and how we do things. And just like them building the town in the very beginning with tourism, they needed jobs. Just like in the 1900 era, there were people that were builders, that Sister Glendina building the first school system. It was a community we were raising each other, and there's a little bit of that still able to, because when you talk about politics or helping each other, grassroots, you can tell grassroots is in this town. If we were in a larger city, you might be able to tell grassroots about a 4-block area or a 10-block area. But we can be so grassroots, we all know each other. When somebody says Eric at the theater, we know who he's talking about. When we talk about the bike store in this show, everybody in town, you don't even have to say your last name. Everybody knows who you are.
Good. Would love to spell it.
And Chris. And it's so beautiful because we're all here for only this period of life that we are in.
I had something.
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
can too for those who don't like the BPA plastics.
Oh, nice.
Those are, I like
You
that.
want this one instead?
I'll take that one, yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming. I think mostly you're looking to present a billboard proposal, and then I did fill in some time on the agenda if you wanted to get a little kind of Q&A with the board and where we're at, and offer any input there.
Yeah, so here's my thing, and I was wanting pictures from Billboard County, but I didn't get it, and I do better when I stand, because I said a lot, but, the big thing about the billboards and that billboard is normally for restaurants and hotels anymore, you don't get a big benefit by having a billboard, because if somebody wants to eat, if you're gonna stay somewhere, you no longer look for a road sign. But when road signs happen right outside communities, and what happened with the billboard outside the community before, is we had that billboard for like, I don't know, 10 years maybe, and it would say like, next 3 stops, 25 restaurants, downtown historic area, it would be some sort of graph, and some of the media companies have some of the graphs that we used to do. And about 15 years ago, we lost that board to Pueblo. And then it got lost to K-Bobs. And now it finally got centered, but it got lost to the Days Inn. If you're going down the highway, you know who's going to take that board if we don't buy it? Love's, because that's what I would do. I would say, 10 miles ahead, Love's, everything you need, which means do not turn the next couple miles, because we're going to make it easy for you. We're going to go directly to the gas stations, have the kids take a walk with their dog, grab a few snacks. So there are times in life you do things strategic, not that you would not normally do it on another time, but because it saves. If that board goes to Love's, if that board goes to Mavericks, if that board goes to Exit 74, we have lost an opportunity to get people off the road. I don't know where that money comes from. I don't know if we advertise outdoor rec on it too, with all of our state parks and all the trails that we can have on it, so that it could come out of outdoor rec money versus tourism money. I don't know the way that works, but I know I have to always fight for what I think is right for the city of Trinidad. And we were all shocked at what happened the years right after we lost those signs of turnoffs, and it said go to Pueblo. And I'm sure Love's and them are, because they're not getting as much traffic. You can't get as much traffic when you build a $5 or $10 million building and all those tanks that are sitting out underneath that piece of ground. You cannot possibly do that and have one in Walsenburg and have one in Pueblo and make enough money. Of course they're going to grab the sign. They already grabbed another sign on I-25. Here further, after you pass Main Street and that, they just grabbed a Love sign. There's nothing to them. $800, $1,000 a month means nothing to them. They're $1 billion company, but we have to save ourselves. I don't know what we do. Outdoor rec, live theater, bikes, trails. I don't know what we do on that sign, but that is the sign that hits right before 3 exits. And I know that we don't see where the money is, but money shouldn't come, especially $1,000 a month in a huge city like this, should not come before what is passionate and right to do for our citizens and for our downtown area. We have nothing that says, people don't read CDOT signs anymore. Oh, you might if you're in a trail somewhere far, but on the highway, CDOT signs, look at them. I challenge you to look at them and see how many sunlit go signs there are in the CDOT signs, because people are pulling them off because they don't need them anymore. But a sign right in your town, right before the exits, that can go to somebody else that says, do not stop here, we're going to make it easy for you. Then you got to care about you got to care about your artists, you got to care about economic development. If we have less, we don't talk about this as much as we could, but we talk about sales tax dollars going out. Our city operates by city tax dollars. How can we not care about creating economic development in city, because that's what we have to spend? How are we gonna clean our streets and do stuff that we need to do if we don't have city tax dollars? We can't be a victimization society that all wants to go and get grant money and get this and get that. And yes, we need it. We wouldn't have all the bells and whistles. Every once in a while, somebody will say, why is the city spending X amount of dollars on this? Well, if they are, it's probably because they're gonna get a $10 million or a $13 million project and they have to put in $900,000. A complete business brain would say, would you open a business? Would you open a $20 million business if somebody gave you $19 million to build it and you'll only have to make payments of $1 million and it's gonna be so state-of-the-art right because it's a $20 million project? Of course you do it. That's what we do in the city. We get big grants for things, we put a little bit of money in. Rarely do we put all the money into any big infrastructure. We have Exit 14 coming up. I don't know if everybody knows that. But Exit 14, CDOT approved the money. So our exit from Exit 14 coming on to Commercial Street, which will happen starting at the end of July. They already did the contract with a concrete company and everything. They advertised it, I'm keeping track of it. They advertised it February 19th. It closed in March sometimes. The money is appropriated. So we're gonna have a beautiful new exit. Exit 14, hopefully we'll be able to get a sign before the exit. It'll come right out into Commercial Street and it'll be the entryway into Trinidad. It will be so beautiful. We're not actually putting a penny for that in the city. So when you hear somebody say, why are they doing that road versus the potholes, is because we got them, somebody else is doing that money for us. We just didn't get money for the potholes. But it doesn't mean that we don't understand that the potholes exist and we need to do them. But when there's money available and we don't know what's going to happen with the government now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years, you got to use the money if they're going to give it to you right now because we care just like you use it for your family, for your kids, for your parents, for anybody. If somebody hands you money and says, I want your parents to live better, so we're going to build them this house over here that they have to say, we have to always just continuously do what's best for Trinidad. The road sign, you can be uncomfortable with it or not. I don't know where we find the money at. I don't know how that works, but we got to try because we are not doing what's right for the artists, for the mom and pops, for everybody downtown. If we knowingly know a sign that has hurt us in the past is going to hurt us again if we don't grab it, and we decide, oh, we don't know where that money's going to come, so we're just not going to do it, then I wouldn't feel like I was doing my job. No matter what happens right now, I don't know, I'll try and see what, I don't have any of the constraints, I don't have the checkbook, I don't have any of that, but I can tell you that I think that that is an important thing because stop. You got 3 exits, you stop. You don't wait for Loves, you don't wait for Maverick, you don't wait for Pueblo or 74-mile marker because it's went to Pueblo too. That girl that I talked to in outside media, she said we have tons of sometimes over the last 15 years we've done that with other places, not put Trinidad back on that board. The only place boards really work really well are right outside your town. Besides that, we've just rotated too much into technology. Everybody looks on their phone for where they eat, where they're going to stay, what's the entertainment for tonight, if it's looking at Facebook, if it's looking at any of your, multimedia sites, that's what it is. But there's also grassroots. I mean, all of you, I know all of you work so hard to make Trinidad work, and you are tasked with a tough task. You are given all this stuff right now with really basically almost no money. How do you succeed in that way? How do we get people, how do you or us or the city, but you were the inspiration, get people downtown with no money? How do we do that this year? I wrote down some inspirational ideas that I thought maybe could happen. First of all, our key card holders. So the hotels, back when we were really popping and doing really well, we had key card holders. And the key card holders, Tara's got a copy. I thought I handed a copy to you when I saw you the other day. So what we used to do is this is what we used to, the tourism board used to do these, and all the top hotels would always carry them. And actually we would reuse them because they were good enough to reuse for at least 3 or 4. So we reused them, not only did it advertise, you can advertise whatever you all think is most important for downtown. You can advertise events on the back, you can advertise standard stuff in the center of it, but what these were most used for is that, first of all of us hotels, we put the key cards in here, but it was a time that maybe we had, farmer's market, let's say. We would put tabs in here on Friday night for everybody that was coming into the hotels, and then we hand you your key card. You're on the way to the elevator. You open it up. Oh, look at what Trinidad's got. That's a nice picture. Oh, look at this, all this stuff. Oh, we got tickets here. Oh, the Blues Fest is going on, and we know in the Blues Fest, we used to put the time that the trolley would run for the Blues Fest. We put, Reynolds would say, with just the La Quinta years ago, we only stayed open because of you side, because we would put free wine coupons if you go to Reno's, and then people would get romanticized, they get sung to, they get a free glass of wine. How much happier in Trinidad could they be? Which was an entertainment venue that used to, the snowbirds, October and April, snowbirds coming to Reno's and staying at the hotel consistently. Okay, so I would love to see if you've got something going on that we put something in here if you're going to want to do something. And I didn't even ask the businesses. I said, you give me one sheet of paper that has whatever coupon you want on it, and we copied them at the hotels. We cut them at the hotels because we were so driven to have people do that. Now, the paper ones that come out from the franchises, they're just little paper things that aren't really, but this sells Trinidad very cheaply, very, very cheaply. And it gets to the person that is traveling, gets to the person that is, has a disposable income because they're staying at the nicer hotels and the whole bit.
Were the other hotel chains also participating in this?
Yes, so at the time, the La Quinta participated, the Super 8 participated, the Old Holiday Inn, which is the Quality Inn now, everybody participated. Holiday Inn had a little bit of a problem at the time because of their franchisee agreement, but we know better than that, and they can use them too. But
Express.
Yeah. So what's most important is that that's what people that have disposable income looking for something to do. I want to help you some. Now we just realized at the La Quinta we've been doing it on a small base to figure out how it completely works, but we found a way, like you've probably stayed at a hotel in the last couple of years that when you check out or when you check in it says, thank you so much for your stay. It shows right up on your phone these days. Well, we found a way that we could broadcast. So what we're trying to do is get into a system where we can broadcast, I love daily instead of just the Fridays and Saturdays that we've tried. Where it says, thank you for your reservation at the Hilton, at the Holiday Inn, at the Quality Inn. Thank you so much for that. Don't forget, we have lots of trails to explore. And if you're looking for fun tonight, Main Street Live has Girls of Little Annie and Green Gables going on, okay? Because I think we did try to do that one.
Right.
But we're still working with that whole system. But that's something that once we learn that system, we're going to teach it to the Hilton and we're going to teach it to all the hotels in town because everybody uses that, you know? Let me see.
I like this.
Yeah, it was so good for all the events. It told you what was going on. Yeah, I mean, and your task is just so hard. So when you're grassroots at what you're doing, you're thinking of how can we all work as a team? I can't even imagine running a hotel and not sending people downtown. And it doesn't matter what housekeeper or what we have. Everybody knows it. We're a community here. The only way we're all going to survive is to let all boats rise. And how cool is this in your lifetime that you're able to be part of a community that's grassroots and is loving and that you have passion for the things that you're doing and that you have a voice. You know, it's just huge. You know, we all understand Yeah, I don't know how the budget looks for next year, do you know?
It's gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly, give or take, how much sales tax are gonna come in?
Well, and so, you know, sales tax is hurting. So how do we raise sales tax? Just like when you don't have money for your house, what grassroots things can we do that will bring us all together? First of all, it won't be all together at all if we allow, if we let people go through. I mean, like when you go down the highway, I challenge you to do that. Go down the highway and look at what a guest that is coming through Trinidad sees. First of all, what we see Walmart, the quality. So quality was a passion for me when it was closed, because I don't want people coming over that beautiful hill and seeing what their eyes would say, oh, this must be a dying community, right? So we have quality operating now. I'm concerned about the old store that sits there that was the marijuana store, because it also says you're not good enough, you don't have a store right next to Walmart that's even open. Now, I heard Christine Duran, from Christine herself, bless her soul, and Ray, that they are thinking of opening a business in there, which will be great. Because you feel comfortable when you drive into a community, you see a bunch of closed buildings and people just hanging out. You're like, okay, well, maybe I will drive to the next time. So then, but if you look right side, so we have an old golf course sign that has not been painted in many years. That should be a concern to us. Who can paint that sign again? Because that's on our golf course property, and there's all these sign laws that go on. You'll notice, and you probably know this, Chris, because you have a great advertising and marketing background, but on I-25, you can't put any more signs on the west side of the highway. They don't even allow it because you've heard our mountain view. So all those signs are on the east side of the highway. So if you're going and you're driving and you have and you're going southbound and you have a left cross read, it's not as advantageous. If there's no lights on it, it's not as advantageous. If there's a sign right on your right side that you see it that says Stop Trinidad, great restaurants, entertainment, trails, biking, whatever you want, remember a sign, they can only read it going at however fast they're going, and so the words have to be big and few or colorful, because you can't put too much on signs people can't read that
7
much.
words.
Yes, is it 7 words? I know it's not much. That was a lesson I learned years and years ago.
Yeah.
I designed a Holiday Inn board when I had the old Holiday Inn and Country Kitchen years ago. I had this board, it was beautiful. It said everything I wanted it to say, and it was downtown Pueblo. And I was so excited, and I took the bottle of champagne up there, and they were gonna bring that, and I was gonna show Trinidad, and I had a Holiday Inn in Trinidad, and I was putting this on downtown Pueblo. Yeah, it had 100 words on it. and then the next part to it is the tree bloomed in front of it. I got the sign in March, and so that taught me a big sign lesson too. But you know, we don't use signs as much anymore. That is true. But a sign right outside your community, you know, we should go passionately find out what we do, because I was embarrassed when I drive by there and it was K-Bob 74 mile marker was up there for a while, and I would like every day coming back from work, we came down and be like, I want to see that sign. I want to see that sign. I don't want anybody coming through our community and not stopping in our community. We have a beautiful community. We have hardworking people. We need the tax dollars to operate their businesses, to operate the city of Trinidad, to bond, to live better than what we have. You know, we got to just think grassroots, and sometimes it's so you don't have the money. Maybe we got to spend the money. I don't know. That's big right here.
We'll find it.
And then, so what other things? What can we do to get people downtown? It's always about, first of all, people that are here, they're sitting in hotel rooms, and when you're in a hotel room, you really want to use your hotel room. In fact, the reason why restaurants aren't as popular in hotels anymore is because most people want to leave a hotel to go eat somewhere else when they're staying in a hotel. Think about you staying in a hotel. Unless you're in the middle of nowhere or you're in a resort where they're going to give you everything, you go to Denver, you're downtown in a Denver hotel, you've probably been there numerous times, and there's all this great stuff going on, but you walk out of the hotel to go to do that. So people want to go, so how do we grab that? Well, I'm here trying really hard. I need more tools. I need key card holders. This isn't in any political role. This is us as tourism together. We need tools. What else can we do to get people downtown? What can we do to get them off the highway? Here's another thought. I would think they would allow us because we have allowed them to operate gas stations, but what about those clear films? What about the clear films for the doors of the gas station? So everybody opening it said, Trinidad, sit down restaurants. Meaning, you're coming here to buy something. I might say, honey, can we go and sit down and actually have a waiter, not stop just at the gas station? If I saw this, so what can we do that's really ground roots? What other things can we do that's really ground roots? What more can we do? A lot of the advertisement that I see that's being put out looks great and lovely. The Instagram, is that DIQ?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of that's really great, but how can we go to the next level? How can we get maybe, I don't know, we have a wonderful connection here with Tom. Can Tom do more interviews with, I don't know, can we bring in people that talk about it and post it more on what that Trinidad's a happening place? Can we find people that talk about trails that have a name come to Trinidad? I'll give them a free room.
Yeah, so we have talked about doing both like journalist fam trips.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to get that in our budget for the year to bring people here to do write-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So we would connect with you on the
So,
package type thing.
yeah, and go ahead.
And another thing, the billboard idea, it's definitely in our thought process in doing it. You remember when I did the deal for the old, before it got blown up, we were looking at something similar, thinking of ads being between like Clayton and Raton and stuff. However, there's, the one you're talking about and the philosophy that just before you get to town is definitely viable. There's a whole nother reason to keep somebody else from getting it. I mean, that's not a marketing idea, that's a business.
It's a business
thing.
It's a totally business.
Yeah, when we did look at it, it's a little bit more expensive than what we were wanting
So
to.
what we have to do again is, what is best for our city? It's best we get that sign. Now, we're on stage 2. Where do we get the money? And what do you put on it? So, I know there isn't money for here, and I know that we're hurting, but I do understand there may be, I don't know, money still in outdoor rec, I don't know. And that's not maybe our decision, that's Tara's decision. But we gotta try, because if we give up, where do you go when you give up? You don't go forward.
So I'll be giving council an update this evening, but that's where the money stands. At the top there, those remaining funds.
And we have grants
Within
come out of that.
Yes, yeah, within the lodging funds. So that's what we have available to spend. So like the billboard, for example, we have that about $57,000 on marketing and advertising. We have that money available, but we are looking at a number of other print, radio, billboards within target markets, specifically Texas and the Front Range. So it's just a decision of where we want to spend that.
No, and that's really good. I'm actually working on something that's really good. I think your target marketing is important. I also feel that right now it's something that I'm trying to do. I've been working with Lainey and some other people on developing a postcard for Trinidad, because I think we have been all so saturated with emails. Like which are the, what is, I have to answer, I delete, oh, yep, I gotta do this one, right? We get so much right now. But I kind of enjoy getting a postcard now and then. So
Do you want from us?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, no, those are
That's
great.
same logic.
Same
Yeah,
logic.
So
so
I actually looked at that in the shop, I signed on the counter and I'll
Yeah.
pick it up.
Yeah, it's.
Because now direct mail sticks out. It used to be, we'd call it junk mail.
Yeah,
Yes.
I go home, I don't get mail lots of days, and then all of a sudden I get mail, it's a postcard, and I actually take the time to look at it again. I'm like, well, that's been like what beyond and before. So I've divided a postcard with the La Quinta, we're gonna do one with the Hilton, that has all the outdoor rec site that says, please come see me. And Lainey's, so she's giving me middle, upper scale, downtown Colorado Springs, downtown Denver, downtown Taos, and downtown Santa Fe. That's my market. If I'm gonna spend money, I'm spending money there. Because my chances of those people having more disposable income that says, let's drive to Trinidad for the weekend, are far higher than anything else that I can do. And so, I do think that being able to pick that, because I don't know, I feel like something in my hand again for this year, this season, right now, is something that people aren't doing anymore. So it stands out more versus all those emails that I don't even open up because there's just too many of them. You don't have that time in life, you know. But yeah, and if you have a speaker come in, so I can give them rooms. There's probably restaurants that would give them a meal. And then if they need money, well, what other ways can we do that for them? Do they have a product they need to sell that we can sell so it can be more of a trade out? I mean, you guys are text with so many different things, but do we currently have a mission or where we're going? What is Trinidad right now? What is the emblem of Trinidad? When you say Trinidad, what do you think is in people's minds and thoughts? When you say, oh no, I'm from Trinidad, what is there in their minds? Well, fortunately for me, people, like when I'm in the state or talking to people, they go, oh, we hear so many good things about Trinidad. I say, yes, there is so many great things going on. And we just got that $32 million extension a couple years ago in the hospital. And the schools, we got this program going on. They're going to build another beautiful things with the old Catholic school in our Main Street again, right? What can we do from even a pop-up art point of view? What is, you know, like, what would we advertise to the hotels if you put it on there? What can we do ground zero to get people that are coming in, staying at the hotels already because they're in the I-25 corridor? What can we do to get them excited about coming downtown? Because if you were to say that the city of Trinidad runs right now at the slowest level in 30 years of occupancy that it's ever seen in the last 2-3 years, is the worst occupancy the city has ever seen. Since the tax, we looked at those tax numbers will say it, right? That it's so slow. But if we could say that we have Holiday Inn 113 rooms, Holiday 88 rooms, 65 rooms at the Days Inn, which is reopened, 100 rooms at the La Quinta, 96 rooms at the Hilton, Super 8 having 80 rooms. You look at all those, we got 700 rooms in Trinidad. And if you took it at an average of 60 to 70% occupancy, so you have what? 500 people staying in town every night. If all 500 people every night wanted to come downtown and drop off money, which they should do, because what are you doing? Eating before you get here, eating after you leave, then we would be able to sustain ourselves. So that's your biggest crowd that's already coming, because they're already pulled off the highway here.
We have a lot of conferences coming up.
Yeah, we
so
do.
We need to hone in on that as well.
We do. But I just have to say, we do have a lot of conferences, and conferences are great. But if you had 10 conferences a year, doesn't keep a city open, doesn't keep a hotel open. You got 10 crazy busy days selling bikes. You're still not going to be like cash flowing at the end of the year with 365 days, right? We need more than 10 days of conferences. And it's great we got conferences, and we should actually work on bringing more conferences in, but we got to have the daily sustaining. We can't have shops that in January through March just are dying, and then they think they get a little bit in March, and then April dies again, and then May's so busy that there's only so much business they could handle anyway. There's only so many seats in the theater anyway. We need consistent. Why? Because we are a great town. You come from Pueblo all the way to go into Santa Fe, which is the big span that we set into. You have an area to walk the dog. You have, the kids can run ahead of you by 100 feet and skip, and you can go to get candy at Mutiny. You can go and do whatever you want. People can walk around. You have restaurants here. You have it not so hard that it's hard to get off the highway and get back right on, right? All they gotta do is take exit 14, come down Commercial Street, spend time on Main Street, go see museums, free museums in town. How many towns have all free museums? That's great. So sometimes when you take a family of 5 and you go to a museum, it costs $30 a piece and $150. You don't want to leave the museum after 2 hours when the kids are tired, right? Because you paid $150. We gotta get our money's worth. But in Trinidad, they can walk in and out of all the museums. What a great way to bring a family here. You go to Mitchell, you get hungry, go over to Mutiny, go do galleries, go down to the historical center, go come down to Southern Colorado where they have amazing stuff here and all the stuff the Hispanic Chamber has done here, which is incredible. That in itself is a marketing tool. But, so what can we do to make it so that people want to come all the time and drop off their money, come all the time? Our school systems need the money. How do our school systems not have the money? Well, look on Zillow. We have 100 houses that are for sale right now. Some of those houses came from the marijuana industry people moving out, some for other reasons moving out. But if you said that, estimate there was 80 kids in those 100 households, maybe 20 of the households had 2 or 3 in one home, right? If you say that, and the school system gets $8,000, $9,000 a student right now, times 80, that's $720,000 our school system is now missing out versus the year before. Because we don't have whatever we don't have, well, we don't have people living here with more kids. So it all goes into the Americana experience. We are such the Americana small town experience. We have our hospital is like the top 5% small rural hospitals in the U.S. Like they're blockbuster on what they have done out there. We have so many great selling points why you should want to come here. So your task is really difficult, but we have to figure out how we bond together. And I really don't think there's ever been a time in 30 plus years where somebody has asked me they're going to have an event if I can't help. I have helped and helped and helped because I love this town. We all have to be on the same page. We can't be, backstabbing and all the horrible stuff. We have to be family here. Dysfunctional family, but family here. We all have to be together here and try to figure out, number one is pull the people out of the hotels and send them downtown. They should all be doing that. And anything we can do, it should be Trinidad zone. When you hit outside Trinidad on both sides, that's Trinidad. We're not talking about anybody else. We wish them well, but we have to care about our family first. We have to care about our family first before we care about anybody else's family. I mean, why are you on an airplane? The oxygen comes down, right? And says, put it to your face before you put it to the children, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we just have to, all those ideas. I have a few other ideas I could send them over to you. But just things that we can do that are grassroots. Right now, people will tell me, oh, and then next year we're going to do this. And I don't have that time in my life. First of all, none of us do. What are we going to do? So we lost bricks, so we lost arenas, and so we lost Sunset, and so we lost Bella Luna's. Like, what are we doing here?
Bella Luna's going to be back.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thank goodness.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully. But they haven't removed the sign yet.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
I'm watching.
But we need 4 more restaurants like those restaurants. We need people to know they can come down here. I mean, bless Keely. She's got the well. She's trying to do all that she possibly can do down there. But she's open almost every night when there's nobody in there at certain nights because there's nothing to do downtown. She's trying. We all got to try together. We got to figure out how we make it. We can't. Yes, we can work on it next year, but right now we got a summer coming up. I want everybody to have a good summer. How are we going to have a good summer if we don't figure out right now pulling those people off the highway and sending them downtown?
It really is about money though at some point. You know, you
Yeah.
say it's not, but I'm
Yeah.
saying when,
Well-
when we're looking at budgets this fall, and I happen to agree about the building, totally.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it boils down to, we have these buckets and we have
Yeah.
people that are valuable resources to our community that are looking for funds and we're already like,
Yeah, so if you look at the remaining funds, 10% is what
Oh,
the
no,
ordinance says is allowed, and nearly every one of our grants is for arts.
it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
You need one, there's no doubt that we have.
and so those who have written grants to be creative, cannot apply or cannot,
Yeah.
we can't be creative in assigning that money.
Yeah, and
It's what I'm hearing.
yeah, and Eric, you have done such a marvelous job with the theater. I mean, I worry about you
Thank you.
because we need the theater. And you have done a fabulous job on the theater. But we all need to figure out how we get more money and do that now. There's other ways we've talked about, including, we kind of mildly walked on it. I really wanted, you were on the, I really wanted for us to look at it through the creative district, but what about the Southern Colorado, America's Got Talent?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Here's an exciting thing that we could do. You have to try out, it costs $25, $50, whatever, America's Got Talent. We got so many great musicians in Southern Colorado. We could hold it 10 weeks in a row, maybe even starting January through March, the slow time of year. Artists all over the place, but what makes it really cool is whoever wins, their winning money is because they get to go, the seed money, so they can go to American Idol. And we as a community send them, and we can make TV because we could get a Southern Colorado. We could be the precedents of a community finding one of their, or two or three of their artists and giving them the $2,500 across because everybody had to put $25 in and we could go on for weeks. So people from Alamosa or Pueblo or Springs that want to compete could also come here. We could do a whole huge thing. I'm speaking out of turn here, but Tom has been so amazing for all that he has done for the city of Trinidad and filming always, but it could be also on TV. Figure out how we do that on his channel. That would be exciting, because I'll tell you what, if I live in Colorado Springs or Pueblo, and my brother tried out in Trinidad, and I didn't go, you know what channel I'm going to? Going to Tom's channel, learning about Trinidad. Then Tom could start putting an advertisement on that show so he could make more money. And those of us that know people are looking at it, so we gotta think grassroots. What are some of the things that we can do? We can do those things now. Now we're walking into summertime. So summertime's a problem because Trinidad doesn't need that much help in June, July, and August. June 15th to August 15th, it's really 2 months strong. But you know, how do we do that? But there are some other things, you know. What kind of things can we do in that manner to get Trinidad's name out there? I mean, I want us to be known. They are a community. They did the grassroots thing, man. They did all they could to get people downtown. So.
Well, really appreciate you coming and your passion. I mean, it's great to kind of get us fired up too. A couple things that we have kind of danced around that have made progress in terms of reaching hotels. One is the trolley, and also we have this van, city-owned van. Would love to get those circulating up to exit 11 through the other hotels. So that's something we should work with city staff on as a regular,
Absolutely.
at least a weekend thing.
Yeah. And I would encourage you when you have that is to be able to have the hotels have you know, not only the trolley thing, but this weekend downtown is this music, that. If you want to go trails, bike rentals, that is something marketing, so when they get down there they're not lost. This Friday and Saturday downtown, it's First Fridays going on. There are these old restaurants that are open. These are places that have music. We recommend going tomorrow, if you have time, to the National Historical Museum downtown, but also we have the Mitchell Museum. What an incredible wonderful piece of artwork. The Mitchell Museum isn't about one guy doing artwork, which is really, it's one of the most passionate things that I have loved that museum on. So somebody took a picture. Somebody drew a sketch. Mitchell painted the picture. When there was only oils available, remember that. So if you've ever painted with oils, it's not like acrylic. It stays wet for maybe weeks. So you're talking about wind blowing and horses going up on their roofs. And he's painting. So one of the most beautiful things is if you stand and look at some of that old artwork, look on it from the edge because you might see maybe just a little hair of dirt here and there. But then, the reason why it's even more exciting than that is because then a photographer took another picture of the final piece, and then a placeman put it through, after it was printed with black and white, printed all the red and set it aside. And when they were dried a day later, they did all the blue and all the yellow and all the purple to produce these guides that are what the Mitchell Museum stands for. And then there were the salesmen who did the ads and the short stories. If you're coming from Oklahoma on your way through down to Trinidad, Colorado, this is where you get your boots redone. So there was those artists that were salesmen and people running shops. So when you look at one of the Mitchell guides that are behind glass there, do you know how many artists that took to put out that one piece? In that era, with no phones, no computers, no anything, that was a huge piece of art. And what people don't realize is we didn't think about that, but how would the Cowboys know where to go? I've always been amazed that they have never done this more in the Wild West shows. Because if you look at history, they have them. And if you were camping in La Junta, you had the one from Trinidad going east, and he had the one going west, or vice versa. You traded them by the campfire. These are huge pieces of heroic literature and art right here in Trinidad. I don't know of another Western museum that has that much art behind the art piece that was produced. What an incredible piece. Anyway.
Well, I want to thank you again. We're going to look at the billboard. Tara has that proposal. I don't know if she had shared it with you, but Sai got a quote from that company, so we have that in hand. So we can look at that as part of our advertising here. It was approximately $10,000 for an annual if we went for a full year. So yeah, man, thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing ideas. You're welcome anytime to join these meetings if you're free. We do have a lot of other stuff to cover, so I want to get us back into our grant evaluations here. But please feel free to stay if you so wish and have the time. And does anyone have any last remarks or questions for Mary while she's here? Cool.
Just curious why you're not more enthusiastic.
Get her while she's here. Get her while she's here.
There's so many great things. I mean, literally, we talk about marketing stuff too. I'm sitting here looking at Yolanda and Mike and all that they did for Southern Colorado and all they did for that. Those paintings in there are the Ludlow Massacre paintings. Do we understand that those paintings were posted in Pueblo? And actually, I petitioned the city 15, 18 years ago and said, how can the city of Trinidad's Ludlow Massacre paintings go in a museum in Pueblo? How is that possible to happen? So the city ended up petitioning and attained those. But all the things that Yolanda and Mike and the Hispanic Chamber do, like if you don't go in there, and if we don't advertise it, you don't understand how blockbuster amazing that is. Anyway, maybe I should just leave. Is there anything I can do for any of you?
Well, we'll
That's
definitely
a
sit.
loaded question right there.
Yeah, we'll definitely sit down and chat about the potential for those journalist fam trips.
Absolutely.
The other thing we talked about is a giveaway package. At this point, you probably would look for the fall, which in my opinion is the best time to go to town. So putting together, you can sign up online, we'll pick a single winner, and then we get like a couple nights stay, a bunch of activities, some meals, that type of stuff.
They will have all their email addresses.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have a bunch of people to market to from the promotion. So I'll get with you independently on that, and really back and forth to the board as we're working on that stuff.
Okay, well, I understand that you guys all have a big task in front of you, and I'm always open for coffee or walk and talks, but we have to save ourselves. We have to. And the most exciting thing for me years is, man, we got so many cool people in this town helping. We have so many great people. How many times has somebody moved here and they say after they've lived here a year, I have more friends here than I ever had wherever I came, right? It's a loving, great community, and we have our challenges, but if we're gonna save ourselves, we have to think of how right now, a year from now is great, but how right now can we do the most right for our kids, adults, people that are operating downtown Trinidad to get people off that highway downtown right now.
I'm so pleased that you came to see us after you're now we're on to the mayor. It was such a pleasure working with you on the old tourism board before we got moved on. I've seen this enthusiasm, that's why I joke with it, but thank you
Thanks,
for being here.
Chris, you're always so sweet. You're so sweet. Okay, guys, do good, do well, love hard, and call me if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Bye, Tom.
All right.
Fantastic.
She wears you out.
Yeah, she's always been that way, though. She's
She
talking
is passionate. I think, you know, I'm probably not the appropriate person to ask, but you know, part of what we need to check with on the business side of it is the allocations and how it's done and that whole ordinance that
Right.
make this happen.
So
And I think
I need to go through Tara.
it has to
so
go, it has to go to council. Tara just said she's not gonna touch it because they did the whole rigmarole over the winter where they were gonna blow up the entire airport and the ordinance at the same time. So we need to get, prior to when we go to council with budget, which is gonna be in July, working with Victor and Tara on that, we would have to, I mean, the ordinance change, if we're gonna recommend that, would take time because that has to go to Les Down's office to actually draft the new ordinance. It has to go through council multiple times. So really, I would say, you know, next month, if we're gonna make a recommendation on that, that's the time to do it.
There might need to be some tweaking, but I was not opposed to any of that change except why eliminate the board. That never did make sense.
Correct, and that's,
If they had
I'm
pulled
sorry.
that out, it would probably pass had that not been in there.
and so that was what I tried to address with my remarks was mostly the importance of keeping a citizen board involved in managing the fund. Primarily because the city lacks the time and expertise to dedicate to it as things stand. There's no single marketing person or office, and so that's the main thing to me. Secondary would be transparency. So, you know, the city still has to answer to the citizens at some point, so having that extra layer of involvement. So what I basically was trying to tell council was, you can change the ordinance, keep a board in place. They ended up just voting to keep everything as it was. So if we go back, we could say this split, I don't know that up anymore. The split's not working, it needs to get changed in some regard. And we could even leave that up to other people, or we could make a formal recommendation about, we want it to look like this.
And I guess still I have this question of, how do we have relatively small budget and they pull $100,000 back to the general fund?
So that is going to be reduced significantly. Next year it'll be cut in half. Tara was hoping for it to be zero. It sounds like that's not going to happen next year. But the goal is that lodging is completely independent. So I do think that most likely that was part of Steve Ruger's idea when he set up the percentages, was like, there's a bunch of money in lodging, how can we use that for other stuff legally?
Yeah.
And so Tara recognizes that that's probably not really appropriate to be pulling things in the general fund. And she would like, for example, outdoor rec, that should be a capital improvement item. It's not a lodging fund thing. So one issue we have there is we did pass the increase with public messaging that's promoted specifically outdoor rec and that type of,
Yeah,
So
that's all.
that's something that has to get somehow communicated to the public if this is getting changed, like this is not a bait and switch. And so I don't know the best way to address that, but yeah, I think everyone on the board would be certainly open to adjusting the percentages.
Yeah, they're silly.
But the way things stands, we currently have to work on them right now.
Right.
One thing that Tara mentioned would be a possibility would be going to council and saying, can we reallocate a piece of this elsewhere? So say today, we're about to be up against the wall on arts and culture allocations, and I could potentially even do this tonight, to say, hey, we have a ton of money left in outdoor rec, can we make a one-time?
Allocation to arts and culture.
Correct.
Well, and again, that to me is about what do you define as arts and culture, right? If Sai's throwing an event at one of her hotels, it doesn't mean it's hotel industry. It also doesn't mean it's art. It could be both. If it's a volleyball tournament that has a concert afterwards, and she wanted to apply for money, according to the way I'm hearing the ordinances read, she can't do any of that. She can only ask for it if her organization and the purpose is specifically directed at a single bucket. And you want events that do all that sort of stuff, That's then we talked about how involving one of the things we were looking at in our report afterwards was what's your demographic, who you serving, right?
Yeah. So I think we need to be talking about this ahead of the next round of grants. Right now we cannot change the way things are outside of the potential to maybe move some money, which we don't even know if that'll go through or not.
But I think it's worth a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
A robust.
So,
Especially since
well, let's go back to this, and I think the best approach would be, based on our scoring and discussion, how much money would we give them if we could? So let's say we're not looking at the budget numbers.
Right.
Do we allocate their full ask? Do we go a little lower? But let's say dream allocations first stop for these grants here. And then we could do a secondary, if we can't move money around, how much we give them, if that sounds reasonable to everybody.
Yep.
So we were on Mount Carmel. Does anyone have that handy for what their ask was?
Their ask is 8K.
There's 8K there, 10K at the Mitch,
25 for Main
25
Street
on
and 50, or 20 for the.
Fancy Spider. Yeah, as I read the Mount Carmel, this is all arts. Hire musicians, movie licensing fees, and there is some with help or advertising costs, I'm sorry. So they actually are spreading out some of that 8,000 for marketing. I don't have a percentage yet.
Right.
Okay. Any other general remarks on the Mount Carmel application itself? Alright. So next up would be Main Street Live.
I can leave the room or stay, it doesn't matter to me, whichever you guys would prefer. I'm gonna use the restrooms.
We would rather you hear the bad things we have said.
Okay, good. Yes, thank you. I'll say the good things first, and then when I come back, you can say the bad things.
So composite score there was 68. Looks like a little above average. Tourism goals, economic impacts relatively low. Project feasibility high, marketing promotion above average. Good organizational capacity, good community benefit, Financial need, a little above average. So maybe we're discussing use of funds there. Lodging tax impacts below average. Strong application in terms of clarity and completeness. So, yeah, again, for me, this just comes back to the potential of dry stays. I think that is low. We also need to address the way the application was presented in terms of splitting out over buckets, because that's a no-go. So we probably would have to pick one of those to fund versus the full amount. So again, I'm looking at that for the asks on each, but that's probably where I would kind of be honing in on. So yeah, I guess just open the floor for any Main Street Live remarks from you guys.
Well, I've said the way I feel about it being part of a group of things we have here that become an attraction, and it's really hard to measure it, but it's at least not scientifically, but I think I think people do look. Okay, if they're thinking about coming to Trinidad, they'll look and see. Okay, they got a music scene, they got a theater, they got in things where might not be the theater that's bringing them here, but when they're looking at Trinidad, then that's another plus. So anyway, I'm obviously pretty much in favor.
And I would have to say that I am too. I do think that the impact on lodging is low.
Yeah.
And again, we were just saying that we had to put a little bit more weight on that, but I think,
we don't have to, that's mine.
no, I'm just saying it's actually, that's what we're really tasked with as the beds, and probably we do need to think about that, but I just think this is such an integral part of the community, and so, certainly on that alignment with, our culture of recreation in Trinidad, it's one of our higher things.
Okay. That would just leave Fancy Spider, I think.
And realistically, Fancy Spider is not a whole lot different. It did real well with pulling from the region, people coming in, but I don't think it was well known enough to be a huge tourist attraction. It may become that.
Well, but you have at a bare minimum every performer staying here for 2 nights. Well, 1 night, but probably both.
But there were a lot of local performers too.
Some. All I'm saying is there's a built-in immediate lodging impact.
It's great.
Similar to the art shows where we know by the nature of the event, it generates X stays right off the bat. I also really appreciated their effort. Everyone scored this high. It's our highest one. It's I was a little surprised it still came out below 90, the strong recommendation.
Everybody's afraid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it's out of anything this go around by far the highest rating. So we're all looking favorably on it.
I can't remember the days for it.
20,000. Last year was 10. I'm pretty sure council's pretty favorable on this one too, in terms of the potential of looking at other funding. But I appreciated that they made the effort to do actual calculations on lodging and sales tax impact. Nobody else did that. So, I think Kurt, he said he was trying to be conservative. Maybe there's debate on which direction that goes in terms of inflation or deflation of the numbers. But overall, it seemed reasonable to me. I think you only had like 2 meals per attendee out,
Yeah.
which
It
does
was
seem kind of low for a full weekend. Yeah,
He feeds them.
feeds the artists.
Yeah, he does.
Well, he's still
Some level. Oh, no, I understand. Yeah.
Oh, but you're saying
Yes.
that he knows those, yeah.
Yes.
But also for attendees, right? Because you're out and about, you're buying drinks, you're buying
Oh,
food.
Yeah.
I mean, we're locals and we were doing that every
Yeah.
day. It was all-
Absolutely.
So just the economic impact, to me, it's the strongest of any application. And I just keep going back to that in terms of weighting our decision making here. So both lodging tax and the top line economic impact. In terms of reach outside of locals, I agree with you, Chris, but it also is a first year fest. And I did like his quote from that. I don't know if you guys saw that one from the guy in Durango who runs the Telluride Blues Fest, which is a huge deal.
Yeah.
That dude just like kind of stumbled on an ad for Fancy Spider and decided to attend. So that also speaks to their marketing effort. So yeah, I guess that's all I'll say about it. I think if we just had the cash in hand in that fund, we probably would vote no brainer for the 20K. Right?
Well, it's definitely worth helping as much to make sure it stays.
So that would be that's all the applications. So if we're talking about no budget on the table, and each of these asks, would we go all in on them? Is the question I have.
Okay, and again, in the best world, I don't think that any of these asks are excessive for what we're getting.
One way of doing this is to take that 16,000, if that is all we're ever going to get, and that is law. Moses, Abraham, and Jesus himself all say there cannot be any more than that $16,075, and that is it. Then we have to go by the rankings, which Fancy Spider would get, whatever some percent, it seems to be some high percentage of that, because they are the highest rated of them. And what I think I'm hearing is Main Street would be below that. And we can only pull out at 16. We do have miscellaneous, and I would say miscellaneous that E could go in there, other purposes, right? So that would give us another 9 to add to it. And that's up to our discretion. So now we're up to like 25,000. That would be the way I would do it. If I had to only do it from that. My reading of the ordinance really was, and I did this on the spreadsheet, I didn't share it with you because I thought, well, it's a little much, I said, okay, so this is how much Mount Carmel wants, this is what they say they're going to spend it on, is arts and marketing. They're going to spend equipment, because there's a thing in here that says you can do equipment that could be a recreational activity, so I'm going to pull some to Mount Carmel. So I found a way, just formulating it myself, where everybody who I thought would probably be funded, and that did not include the Mitchell because they didn't have the full application at the time, right?
But the Mitchell, it looked like that was for marketing.
Right.
Yeah, so
That
what I did is I
also-
carved out a section of each of, bucket A, B, D, and E as I told you in that email. So I, in my mind, I had a way to fund everybody who seemed like they were going to get funded based on my sense of the application. I was making decisions for anybody else, but that's how I would do it. I still think it's worth the ask.
I think the way to approach it would be just to say, so we decided on grant dollars. There's the 90K in outdoor rec, and to say we're looking to get this reallocated because we're seeing the vast majority of grant applications are falling in arts and culture. Also that outside of the city programming that we've heard of through the grapevine,
Yes.
there's no outdoor rec projects out of that fund. So it's like we're not contracted to build a new trail on Cornwall or something.
Right.
That is personally disappointing to me because obviously I'm excited about outdoor rec. I would love to bring some proposals like that to council. But just from where we're standing currently today, I would just say we would request to,
To
for
leave.
whatever our chunk is gonna be out of that. And then just see how that discussion goes. So we
So
maybe,
out of a single bucket rather than a variety of buckets.
correct, so
Okay.
instead of trying to, it sounds like that's gonna be a non-starter to me with the city manager's office.
But that's what they're said there, the money's supposed to go for.
All I'm saying is, if we're gonna focus our energy, like, let's make a strategy that we think we can win.
Fair.
It still gives people the same amount of money. And I think it's also a simpler thing for everybody, like in terms of execution on the city side, in terms of understanding, communicating that out to council. It's just,
Probably an easier sell.
that's kind of what I'm saying, yeah.
So it looked like a total of what is it,
If it was everything,
like $63,000? I didn't quite do that math right.
Yeah, mine's off because I didn't fund
Yeah.
Mitchell because it was below 60.
Yeah.
Because that's the application I had, but, found it today, there's more to it.
Up there, a lot more.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. 45. 55. Yeah.
I've got 74.
And that's because Mitchell's in it. Mine was like really in the 60s, yes.
I had Mitchell at an ask of 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't fund it all because of the
10, 8, 20.
incompleteness of the
Yeah.
application, so.
That's what,
And I'm willing to reconsider that now that I've seen the whole thing.
oh, sorry, I got 63.
Oh, you know what, I'm just used to my numpad, so I was saying equals instead of plus.
Oh, I said I'm like,
Oh, no, okay.
I don't.
So where's it in 72?
So it's
I was
looking
like,
better.
I don't know.
All right, yeah.
Maybe new math. I don't know. I'm just like,
Yeah, 63.
Okay, good.
63 total, so that also still leaves some money in outdoor rec. It also means that we would not have to put the Mitchell under our ad budget, which gives us more money to keep spending on ads,
Right.
which I think is another feather in the cap for the argument.
Yes, I think so too.
So again, we don't know if this is gonna fly or not, but I think I could go ahead and bring it tonight because obviously time is kind of of the essence on these.
Yeah.
And on our ads as well.
Yes.
So,
And good luck with that.
thanks. Do we want to talk about backup or just sit on it and wait to hear?
We have a meeting in 2 weeks, I guess, if
Right.
if it gets rejected or,
I don't know if we'll have
approve
council
the
decision
modification.
by then or not,
What's that?
because they won't vote on it today, so.
Well, if we say, can we do this? They go, under no circumstances can you possibly do that.
Sure, yeah, we may know and know.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. All right, well, it sounds like the only hard decision on grants today is a no to the passport. And then we would attempt to fully fund everything else if we can.
Yeah.
All right,
So our
and these are all repeat applicants, because I was gonna say, I think it's worth discussing to some level, if we've given money to people in the recent past, if that affects how we dole things out or not. But it's not relevant because everybody around here got money last year, right?
And again, the amount that they got last year, you said we did 10K for this fancy,
Spider, yeah, you got it? Mhm.
is that right?
Yes,
That's correct, yeah.
And you just know off the top of your head, just for my information, what the others got?
No,
Main Street was 15, there was a 10 in June and then another 5 in December.
yeah, I'd have to go dig through the minutes from last
And
year.
I can do that just as easily.
Mount Carmel was less than 8, I think.
All right, so proposed to council 63.
I don't know what Mitchell asked for now.
10.
No, is
I think 10.
Is that right?
Last year, I think so.
Is it in this? I bet it is.
Could be in the financial. I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right. So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, just, well, I guess any last items on grants before we move on. It's already 11. We probably aren't really gonna have time to do everything here, but I would love if we can hone in on one or two things, because I can then present that to council this evening as well. Just to say, these are ads we would like to commit to or plan to.
We're gonna have to do, if we're gonna look at her billboard, we're gonna do it soon. It'll be done.
Well, because I understand that they've got someone else looking at it already.
And there is, and the same thing goes for any others that we might look at, so they go, you know.
So I wrote Joe an email last night, I said, which had a spreadsheet on it, just, yeah, there it is, just a rough ballpark figure based on what I remembered we talked about in terms of the money allocation. And then prioritized what I thought, to me, made the most sense. You know, the top tier markets are Denver and Colorado Springs for us locally. And then I didn't see the great value in the San Luis Valley or the La Junta, just not as many people and not as many people who are going to spend as much money or spend as much time with us. I think NPR and 303 Magazine, of the things that we were looking at, seemed like the best targeting in terms of people who have disposable income and might come down here.
One interesting thing on the secondary or tertiary markets would be, depending on where we're advertising, the potential for other travelers to see that too. So it's like a lot of our people that we want to reach might already be going to the San Luis Valley, for example. So if they grab a local paper while they're there, visit Trinidad's on the front page, maybe they even stop on the way home or something. So overall, I agree kind of with your strategy there, but if we have low cost options we can work in as part of the overall strategy, I think it's still worth keeping those other markets in the mix. So, some of those ad quotes are not that crazy.
No, it's not yeah, you can see there from it's not a lot.
I mean, we're talking
but they didn't have a rate, and that's why I was like, I'm sorry, with Prairie Media, I'm looking.
those folks we have to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
That is Northern Colorado.
That's a harder sell for me, given the population as well.
Well, yeah, I don't know which of these counties is Fort Collins, but the last few weeks I've had multiple Fort Collins people in the shop who are here riding bikes for the weekend. So, I don't know, the I-25 corridor I think is a good target.
All right. I also recommended against Canaan and Wind, just to seem too far away to me. And if we want to get Texas people, and I put that that highway or that Highway 87 billboard on in the text of the thing. I knew that we'd looked at billboard, but as an overall strategy, we're trying to allocate. It seems to me to make sense to allocate it out among a variety of things.
Yeah, I agree with that. Overall, I'm more disposed to the Highway 87 billboard if we were getting one and not the other.
Same. The decision's already made by the time you're at the day's end to me.
Right.
That kind of billboard.
We're talking about driving overnight stays.
Yes, which is that's the job, right? Yeah. And I also like preempting Raton. We have more hotel rooms and better hotel rooms. And, they have more restaurants, I think, than we do, but they're all chain restaurants. We have local restaurants.
Just to rewind to Dallas real quick.
Sure.
The reason we're looking at that is based on historical visitation data. It's number 2 behind the Front Range. So I think we should be leaning into that because they're coming here so we can reach more people in that area that's already visiting. So
If I would like to make another comment about that. Part of the reason is because, and this is from my background and experience, part of the reason there's more from DFW than like the Panhandle and stuff is because it's a couple million people more that are there. The cost of advertising and everything and really doing an effective job in the DFW area is we don't have the money to do it. I mean, it's like pissing in the wind, pardon my
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
We can have a better impact if we hit the Texas Panhandle, all the way down to Wichita Falls, Lubbock,
Yes.
even Amarillo, and maybe Albuquerque, more so than northern Colorado because of the migration towards Colorado. But I honestly, just from experience and from a little bit of knowledge I still have from my old days, it's a waste of money right now because we don't have enough to do a DFW campaign.
Yeah, I can see that in terms of it actually registering. I kind of feel like that goes both ways though too, because it's like bigger market, more people to potentially reach, versus saturating a smaller one.
You have 35 choices of how to reach them. In the Panhandle, you have 10.
Yeah, and that's where maybe that's an area where maybe we focus digital, right? Because it's lower cost, it's very easy.
In DFW, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very easy to get a lot of impressions, which just means people who see your ad.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so instead of throwing money at 1 to 2 print radios there, we just make a digital push so it's popping up on their phone.
I just guarantee I didn't listen to this station.
Yeah.
Well, this is just whatever
I know what you
one,
mean, yeah.
whatever one that Kyle had happened to
No, I
pick.
know, but I'm just,
And she
I'm
didn't
just
have-
saying, there's so many choices.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
choices
There's-
that
Yeah, hundreds of,
if
probably
you,
hundreds of stations in the Dallas area.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, I lived there forever and I don't know this.
Mhm.
So it's just,
Yeah, she didn't have very many Texas, well, really any Texas quotes, so I have followed up with her anything from Texas, and she said she might have a few.
When I was promoting Texas Musical, we had $150,000 a year this summer for 2.5 month period to promote it. We had better results by going to all of the smaller communities, including like a Dalhart, or Memphis, and doing things there. And of course, we had the event to like give some tickets to and things. It made more sense. We had better luck that than trying to do anything. Of course,
and I can.
Yeah, I was
we didn't
thinking,
have the digital stuff.
so I was thinking that Texas is an event, right? And it's a specific sort of thing, and maybe penetrating the Texas market based on an event makes more sense than overall. Like skiing, Kuchar Mountain Park, that was open. They got this section of time and they want to do it. We've got, as you say, fall's a great thing for leaf peepers and for trail riding, and maybe a specific reason to come to Trinidad as opposed to just a general idea might be a more effective use if we do want to go out of state to those larger markets. If we had a Texas Artists Music Festival going on, that would be ideal, right? And Dallas absolutely want everybody to hear all those people that they've grown up with or now.
But Amarillo is also, it's big population,
Yes.
so again,
Couple
to
hundred
me, that would be a good alternative.
Oh, yeah, I agree with what Chris was saying. This Panhandle seems like a more likely, a bigger conversion rate from there than you're going to
Just
get in
make
Dallas.
it, more bang for your buck.
So,
Just
And this is just based on me looking online and knowing what I know, right? I mean, if someone pulls hard data that says, a billboard on the right-hand side of the highway, precisely 37 miles from the donation is, from the location is 87% more effective than one that's 500 feet, then,
But yeah,
But that's
I
what
think
it's
there's validity in the whole popularity, though, again, getting people off the road. And it may not be
The next meeting?
if that's our whole thing, I don't think that's what we should do.
not the whole thing, I think it should be.
well, I'm gonna propose to council.
There's a little bit of
But
political.
I like it, and it's not just because size that it is.
Oh, I know, I mean, if you set it up on 97,
And then you said, here you are.
and then you close the deal, turn right here, it's this thing that you've been hearing about, that's what Bucky says.
Absolutely,
Right.
you're getting 400 miles away, you're almost there.
The big
You're
text.
600 miles away.
The big Texan and their billboard campaign.
Oh my God.
They're 100 miles, 200,
Yes,
300
yes.
miles
Yeah.
away.
And then you're here.
And then it's, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And I agree. However, there is validity to not letting Loves or Maverick or somebody getting that board I wish the motel would buy it.
Yeah, that's what she was gonna
It's
say.
not with us.
Yeah, right. And while you're here.
Yeah, but
I agree.
there is validity there. It's, there's a little bit of political, persuasion there that, I don't know, that would be a tough call. I would, take Loves out of the mix, I would say something between Clayton and, Raton. Right, so I agree with that. That is
That's optimal.
yeah.
And I'm just saying, I think that she made a valid point. If someone gets that other than us, it would be different.
Well,
But, we don't know how much, so.
yeah, we all want downtown visitation, obviously. I own a downtown business.
You definitely should.
However,
Sales tax from that.
Love's
goes to
was
us.
annexed.
Yes,
I
that's
know, I know.
right.
So the money
It was-
impact is maybe not the same because it's not getting spread out amongst the locals, which we prefer. However, the city will still get money out of someone buying that if it's Love's. If it's Pueblo,
But if it's Pueblo, it's
Yeah.
not.
different
It's not.
story.
Yeah,
What we were looking at the cost of that board was.
and it was like
about 10.
1,000, it was like 1,000 a month, 900 a month. I think.
Yeah. It's
It's
approximately 10, give or take.
Yeah, so it's not a whole lot more than a board, out on.
150%.
It was way cheaper on 87.
I've got it up right now.
Yeah.
5 to 6K for the
And it's,
Highway 87 versus 10K. So
That's not a lot more when you look at the overall picture, but still.
and I
I
think
mean, it's
that's
a large percentage.
It's double.
It's a lot more. It's
Literally
double.
double.
Overall 57K budget, $5,000.
but if they were to reallocate some of that money, that they've taken to the general fund to us, would that not?
They're not going to reallocate general fund money to us. That's spent. It's gone.
Yeah.
Especially at
I
this
love
point.
that 100,000.
Talk radio.
Well, so these are individual ad rates. So the radio stations on here, there was KRDO in Colorado Springs. So that was rates of
There's one there.
$10 an ad, includes morning news interviews. For a website, packages somewhere around $500, and Facebook posts they did $125. So $10 a spot on the KRDO. And those can be a 30 or a 60-second spot, Monday through Saturday, prime time, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
$10 a spot is nothing. That must not be reaching anybody.
It is NPR, not commercial radio. I don't know if that's making.
That's KRDO.
Yeah, isn't it? That's what I looked up, but I hope I'm right.
I don't know.
Looks like it's local.
It sure does, doesn't it? That's not what I thought it was. Sorry.
So, I mean, that'd be a KCRT equivalent
Yes,
in
it
the
was.
Springs. So, I mean, that's cheap.
It is cheap.
All of those things are cheap, and we could get a mix of stuff there, advertising on our website.
So I thought KRD was news radio. Yeah, right. That's your older demographic. Yeah. That's what is on my spreadsheet that I pulled over was KRD.
Yeah.
Yeah, news radio, right? Which tells you what the demographic is, Chris.
Yeah. Hope people.
Yes.
So that's all we have for radio quotes,
People like
besides Dallas, which sounds like we don't want to pursue.
Right.
The iHeart Media, we have to have a conversation on the phone. For,
Right.
he wasn't providing any numbers. So yeah, right now the only radio quote we have would be that KRDO. So yeah, I mean, this is not comprehensive. This is just what Kyle sent to me.
Right.
I'm super frustrated with her, to be frank. We're all busy, and she started these conversations in February, and I asked her numerous times to just pass them off to me if she wasn't going to be here, and I only got them yesterday. So
Yeah, I did my best to respond last
right, yeah, I appreciate the crunch time responses, but yeah, we could have been way further ahead if she had just realized that she was not going to follow through So,
And I emailed her last November to talk about some of this stuff too, and didn't hear back from her either, so.
so I mean, we're kind of relying on her expertise and connections there, and it did not play out. So, but here we are. Cherry Road Media, it sounds like this 5K may not have been committed yet, in which case we can recommend whatever we want or nothing, I guess. But it sounds like Tara would be inclined to give them at least 5,000, so it's equitable with the World Journal.
Right.
If we do that, I don't really want to spend it all locally.
Agreed. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I
That's
hope,
the advantage of working with Cherry,
right, and I hope that Lainey still gets her sales credit if the ads are actually going elsewhere. But
Yeah, they included a map.
right, she had a lot of good info on where
Yes.
things can go. So they have a bunch of small towns in Texas, also in Kansas, that are drive time would be good targets. So I would not be opposed to pulling some ads for those. I think the full page is probably overkill, but honestly, a half page ad at under $500, and you get discounts if you do multiple runs.
Right.
So
A little more bang for the buck there.
right. So I mean, say we even did a three print run, that would bring a full page ad down under $500 each. So $1,500 out of our 5K towards print ads with them. I also think we should keep a little bit local so the city can promote their events and stuff like that.
I agree. I thought that Santa Fe Trail Days and the bocce tournament, whatever else we got going on. That's
Right. Well, I potentially, I guess maybe,
fishing tournament.
yeah, you can't really do anything third party that would be kosher to promote other things in town. Like a Main Street Live ad.
So this is not on the topic, but my last utility bill included a full page ad from the Triggers, sponsored apparently by Phil Long Toyota. How did that happen? Because we've talked about it in here, and there's been, for me at least, an information deficit. How much does it actually cost? Would the city be willing to underwrite that for events that they're
Victor's
already
supposed to find out that for us.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's in the works because I just got the ad. So that machinery is in motion. That's the first one of those kind I've seen in a while. There have been other announcements about street closures or whatnot.
Would you be willing to reach out to the utilities department or stop by there and just find out?
And if you don't have time, let me know and I will.
Oh, I actually maybe have time this week.
Okay, because I'm just like, I know you're.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so.
it was just luck last night that I had 2 hours to devote to all of that. And there was a lot of stuff to go through. All right.
No, I was like,
You
I
get
was
your-
5 this morning.
Did you get
Yeah,
your-
I know.
Right.
I appreciate it.
No, I should have done it last week.
Well, the grant scoring I only sent out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started on that on Saturday actually, and then just finished it up yesterday. But it was the ad stuff that I spent some time on.
So I don't know, out of these, out of what we have available, Cherry Road, it sounds like is going to happen regardless.
Right.
So that's 5,000, which brings our balance down to 5,200. Marketing and advertising. We could do both billboards if we wanted. It's a big chunk of change.
It's a big chunk, it is a big chunk of change.
It's $15,000
But
at minimum, I guess.
I really think there's an advantage to that. I mean, I think planning the thought and then the final thought. We've got 2. That's going to be, the second one is going to be more valuable than if it's by itself.
Yeah,
It's
obviously we
politics
need to
and
make
not
sure that they.
Repetition is,
It's politics and not advertising, but if you point to that billboard and say this is what LTAB did,
Right.
then you've got here's a tangible benefit of having this board
And-
do this work.
As long as the flip side of that is you're doing whatever the mayor wants.
And,
I don't.
and I do, and I also think too, though, that she comes from the right place and she
Right.
has the experience and she has some expertise in this
yes.
as well, so it's not,
Yeah,
it's
Sure.
not just that, so.
Just talking about, if we're talking about political optics,
Got it,
that's
got
all.
Yeah, when you go to the council and you just say we can we spend the money a little bit more the way the applicants and the city would like it spent? You point to these things and go, we had $60,000 in arts and we had $16,000 to fund it, right? We're hearing that we need to advertise the city. Here's the $21,000 that we spent to advertise the city on billboards. And you look at that, you don't even have to be from here to see that and see the impact of it. It just makes it stronger.
And how do we measure, how can we measure the effectiveness of this?
Correct.
You
That's
can't.
the problem with traditional.
Yeah, the ROI on a billboard is.
Well, what we can do is, there's no good method, is the bottom line. We can put unique websites on there. So it is only in relation to the billboard, and then we can track visitation on that website. So we can,
That is
Well,
what I.
Except,
so we have a tag
except when you're traveling 65 miles an hour.
You have to do that.
Yeah, that's a tough.
correct, especially because it can't just be visit Trinidad.com.
Right.
It has to be unique.
Part of the reason to have people with the background that we do collectively on this board and helping, and it would be great if he was, schooled in tourism and marketing, he's learning. But it would be, the part of the reason that is there is because you can't measure it all. So you have to, go with what people have experienced, with what, they have knowledge of and what to propose. And there's so many different ways to advertise and market it. If you have an unlimited budget, oh my God, I'd be crazy with it. But you pick what you think is best. And there's no advertising that's going to be bad. And, it's just, you can't rely on.
According to Sai, anecdotally, the loss of the billboard was significant for downtown business. But she also said in her same talk to us that the last 3 years of hotel and motel occupancy being the worst 3 that they've had ever. It can't be because of the billboard, right? And
There's far too many factors. That applies to all the restaurants closing.
Absolutely,
Too.
yes, and it can apply to the other bugaboo with the hotel industry, the doubling of the hotel motel bed tax. And again, this I actually do have research on. It makes no difference.
Well,
So I can tell you if I fly to
Oh, dude, there's no way.
I
We're
fly.
talking about maybe $5 a night, $10
Right,
a
I know.
night.
I fly to Louisville to see my
Yeah,
family. I don't stay in a hotel because they've got a 6% tax or not, right? I don't rent my car at the airport. I fly to Montana, same story. I fly to Phoenix, same story. The tax is what it is, right?
it's actually more like $375 a night.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
I don't know,
It
there's
doesn't
something.
make those decisions for us.
As opposed to.
Sure.
Well, it's a good example. We wasted money because we put so much faith in digital. Digital is definitely important. It's definitely there, but you look back at what we spent, we didn't get the return that we'd hoped.
Yeah, well, we're talking about these ads right now.
I know.
So I mean, if you're looking for a motion, I'd say let's look at the billboard or a direction to move it. I'd love to look at the billboards and make a decision. If we go out of town or in town or both.
So if we do both and 5K out to Cherry Road, that leaves us 36 in the bank.
Right, and I was suggesting that we spend 5 or 6 on those what I consider top tier guys, and so take another 12 out of that, you got 24.
What would those be? So 303.
Yeah, 3, and that's just based on what Kyle gave us, right? That's just the information I have, and those look like higher penetration markets to us and more wise spending of the dollar.
What?
303 magazine, Denver area magazine. Sorry, and it is it's targeted towards people with money to spend who want to travel, right? KRDO is an older audience, more likely to take in, who care about history, who care about the fact that we've got Victorian buildings here, people who are with retirement income. That's your demographic for news radio, right? And so that made sense to me.
So you KRDO and 303?
Based on the information we got from Kyle. I mean, those aren't the only ones. I apparently was in too much of a hurry and just assumed the KRDO was public radio, because that's the email I sent to Kyle. I said we should look at NPR in the Denver metro area and Springs, because those people actually listen to the radio and then make some kinds of decision about it, and they have disposable income. But so do news radio people. They may even be a sweeter demographic. But
$10 an ad?
That's what their media gives.
because they're cheap, isn't it?
Yes,
Wow, yeah.
very cheap.
I'll pull it up here.
I just barely over the rated KCRT.
Yeah, so I mean, if you maxed out on those guys, the ones that we were given, you still have close to $25,000 left to spend in the advertising budget. And as I'm running numbers, but I could be wrong.
Must have been an email.
You know, several years ago,
On the kit, or the grade.
Yeah, I just pulled that from the stuff, sorry.
right at
KRDO, $10 rates, Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So you can get 100, 30, or 60-second spots for $1,000. And that includes morning news interviews by phone.
and the way you take those and get more impact is run them in 2 or 3 days.
Mhm.
Don't
Yes.
spread them out through the week. Run them so that it pushes them into all the good times. That's
Okay.
an old trick. When this board first originated, and it was a little frustrating getting started communicating with the city. Oh, where have I heard that before? I got a call from our mayor. She wasn't mayor then, and she was upset because all the hoteliers were upset. So between Ruger and everything else, we put together a package that was right at $10,000 through Cumulus that bought Wichita Falls, Amarillo, Albuquerque. That might have been it. They didn't have a station in Lubbock, but that was a little further away anyway.
And no Santa Fe House in that picture.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but it was it was a good package. Ran for a couple months, and we could easily go back to something like that. And even if we double it, did one in the spring and one in the fall. I don't know, just about.
Do you remember how much it was?
Huh?
Do you remember how much that package was?
10,000 for the 3 markets.
So yeah, and then compare that with iHeartRadio, because those mega media outlets can target you pretty quickly, and they do it on internet as well as terrestrial radio and satellite.
And
So,
we did it so quick.
and TV, actually.
We did it so quick because it was just before the end of the year that we didn't have time to do some things we could do. We can do promotions with those stations. Once we make a buy, come in with a promotion to give away nights, the hotel and dinner and tickets to whatever.
Yeah, we're not able to do that now, but I mean, if you want to pre-allocate this or decide how we want to spend this, I think including that in a later buy, if we have 25,000 left, just earmark, we're going to do some radio.
Yeah, whatever this
Or multimedia.
Okay, so right now what I'm hearing is grabbing both billboards.
If they're still available, yeah.
Well, we can also put a marker in that if one comes available, grab it, that we want this in the future.
Yeah, if they've got, somebody's got a 3 or 6 month contract. I don't know if they're even selling the little ones anymore.
They are.
They are? Okay.
At least, was that one? Yes, there's one that is anyway.
Oh,
One of the bigger ones.
Okay, nice, yeah, and that's all the vinyls. The digital ones, of course, can turn over a lot.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
talking,
yeah.
we're talking just the regular boards.
Yeah.
Well, it becomes a return on investment if you have to spend $1,500 on vinyl. You don't want to do a 3-month contract, but some do. And they have to pay their guys to go out and take them down.
Outright.
In
Yes.
our little
That's-
trick that
that's
I used to do, because we did a lot of boards for Texas,
Yes, sir.
I would buy them for a month and then skip a week. Buy them for another month and skip a week because they never took them down.
That's right.
So I did 5 weeks,
You gained it. I like it, yeah.
All right, so just trying to kind of distill this a little bit, right? So we got somewhere around 16,000 towards those two billboards. You were saying like 5 to 6K towards 303, but I was wondering if we want to go get a couple other quotes in Denver. So it's 5280 magazine is a big one. That's a little upscale, a little more upscale and maybe more expensive.
5280.
5280 magazine.
Yes.
And then potentially the Denver Post. So we're just looking at print up there.
Right.
We don't have any radio in the mix on the Denver market.
Your Denver Post magazine is going to be better than the regular publication, though, right?
They have a magazine.
Yeah, they put out those special editions.
Oh, okay. So do we want to instead say, so like originally we were going to do 45,000, and that was 20K front range, 20K Texas, 5K on fan trips. So our two identified billboards, I would call that generally targeting the Texas market. That's most of our Texas spend, and then maybe a portion of a new radio contract that hits numerous markets would fill out the rest of that. So if we're doing a 10K package, half of that is in Texas. So that's our 20,000 in Texas. So then out of, do we want to just for now say, instead of like 5K towards 3 to 3 magazine, obviously we still need to go have more direct conversations with these outlets. So would we instead want to say like 10 or 15,000 in Denver, and that's on print and radio, and then we go get some more quotes?
Well, Carrio's Springs, so I didn't know if you wanted to differentiate that.
Well, 20K was front range. So let's say I-25 corridor.
Okay, I'm with you now. Sorry.
So that would be.
Yeah.
So if we're doing 10K in Denver, maybe we pick and choose some of these 303 stuff. Even if we did a couple of these, it doesn't get us to 5,000. Like these packages are pretty good. You get multiple different features and stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, we could split out 10K within Denver, and then 10K on the rest of the front range, Pueblo and maybe NoCo.
Okay.
And then we should each pick somewhere to focus on, I think, and go out and get those quotes. So we kind of divide and conquer.
Do you want me to do the 5280 then? Just, or would you rather do?
So it would be just like Denver market. So it doesn't even have to just be 5280. But yeah, if you're willing to take that on, we can give you a Denver.
Is that Out West magazine? I can't remember. There's Out West, which is the LGBT, and then there's also West, like these are the great things to do in the Denver area.
I think it's called True West.
Is that what it's called? All right, I'll just look up Denver.
Yeah.
Denver print media then. Okay.
So we're looking to spend about 10K there. Chris, do you want to look at a new radio contract?
Or
I'd say basically the same thing you had
Yeah,
before.
okay.
Yeah, you could even resuscitate that one maybe,
so I'll get them to, because Cumulus actually put it together with my director. I'll just contact them.
Okay.
For the 10? Or how much?
Yeah, I think that's good, because that would be, write this all out. So we got 15 to 16 towards billboards. We said 10,000 in Denver, 10,000 like Fort Collins and Pueblo, while in the Springs. Depending on what we prioritize there. 20K Texas, but that's billboards. So I said that up to 5,000. I say 10 is good because then it's split. So 5K is, half of that is towards Texas markets, half of it's towards I-25.
Yeah.
So whether Albuquerque, if they have stuff around the Springs, that's good too.
Okay. And this spring, right?
Yeah. I mean, spring and summer.
Well, summer is tourist season, so I mean,
Yeah.
we're mid-April by the time we get these quotes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Right.
So I would say summer, fall.
I mean, as soon as we can run them.
Okay,
That's
fair.
basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, right.
As soon as
We're not talking about calendar, we're talking about when we can release it.
Yeah, when do you have spots available, if they're
Right.
ready, we'll buy them.
Westward. That's the name of the magazine.
Westward.
Yes, yes.
I was like, not True West is down here.
Yeah,
It's like a little.
There used to be one that if you
Yeah, Westward would be a
had
good.
got a story in it, and
That's actually one I heard from
Si was
so,
big
yeah.
on that because we did one, a story, back in the old days, the old tourism board, and it was. But I got hit with that magazine in Amarillo too. So
Just asking, there's also a Denver area, like travel guide, and I have a cousin who lives up there and I've seen it somewhere. I don't know if we want to go travel guide because we're doing, already doing north and south of our border here, travel guides. Or did you want to do magazines? We've been looking at major media outlets as opposed to tourist.
I think it's
outlets.
more about reaching the people who live there than the travelers to Denver, because if you're traveling to Denver, you're going to Denver, and probably Summit County.
Yeah.
You're not going to drive 3 hours south.
No, it was targeted to Denver residents.
Oh, I see.
Here's places to go. I mean, but
Gotcha.
yeah, but I'm sure Westward and Denver Post sound like really good outlet possibilities besides 303. That'd give us 3 choices. But I'm sure
do we know who does the billboard, the sidewalks?
Yeah.
The
It's-
Tara has it. You might have that too.
It's,
It's not Landmark, is it?
No, it's,
and it's not Lamar either.
Landmark is the one that has most of them on
out front.
out front. Landmark has the ones between Clayton and the Towns.
So we're going to leave the 5K for family trips. That could also be our giveaway.
Sure could. Which would, that sounds like to put together we need a couple of months lead time, right?
Yeah, but if we're talking in the fall, so I think
Yes.
September window is great because we have Trinidad Arts Fest, we have Fancy Spider, we have the Rad, all back to back.
So
So it's stacked.
beautiful.
Yeah,
September,
and they can kind of
October,
choose
yes.
their weekends.
Yep.
We could include passes to those that boxes them in the one-time window, but then we could pick one of those to center it around too. So, but we've got some time to pull that together and promote it.
We kind of lost our expert down to it though.
Well, Kyle said she's obviously, we've seen how her time gets allotted, but she said she's still willing to help us out on connections and things like that. She also, in her resignation letters, said, she's going to see where she's at in a year, which may be irrelevant at that point. But she is also disappointed that she can't keep working on this stuff. So.
I'm sorry I missed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we got on the board there, out of that 57K, 16, 10, 10,
So, because this
46.
is April, you're gonna present this tonight, they can't vote on something until next.
Well, they don't even vote on this. I just want to have an update for
It's
them.
informational.
Correct, to say we're working on these things right
This is
now.
what we're gonna do, here we
So
go.
you're saying we have 11 left after this?
Right, so we still have a little bit of reserve there.
Good, that's probably good.
Which also means, again, say we have to come back on the grants, if we can work the Mitchell, for example, we can give them their money out of this. We have 11,000 left. That also means we could do stuff like hit Dallas with a digital campaign. So we spend $5,000 on Google ads or something like that.
Can we not direct the IQ to target DFW?
Well, they should have it in their current mix, but they're only doing social media advertising, so no search this year. The contract is only for social right now. So if we,
And Google, as opposed to Facebook, right? That's my recollection of how that went, because we had option A and option B.
no, but they're not this. Council chose social only.
Social.
There is no Google
Specification.
advertising currently happening.
Oh, that's right, sorry.
So that would be on us to execute it. if
Okay.
we do it.
Alright, so we do actually, alright.
So that's something I could, if we spend money on digital ads, I can work with Victor on that directly. I think probably one of the best things to do would be to fold that into our giveaway campaign. So we're promoting the giveaway through advertising. We could have other ads running at the same time, but that would be a good way to like build.
And the digital presence means you have to collect all that data to enter.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's instantly available.
Okay. Thanks. I know this has been a super long meeting. What else? Yeah, I mean, obviously this happens all the time.
Well, we did have a 45-minute
Man.
motivational meeting.
From the couch,
Yeah. So I feel like this seems like a good plan. So right now, billboards, I will get with Victor, or if you want to copy us in on that, if we want to go and take our first steps on that.
Okay,
I guess we should, those are the two that we probably would vote on right now today, if we want to go ahead and get them.
Yeah.
So then we can get that ball rolling. So we'll take a motion.
So moved.
second.
Okay, there we go.
Second, all right, all in favor of spending $15,000 to $16,000 on our two identified billboards, assuming they're still available. Say aye. All right, we have unanimous on that.
72 hours, we have another 72 hours on that out front.
Do we have a first review or what?
Yeah, she was kind of holding it.
Okay. This is the south edge of town, right?
Yes.
Okay.
She's holding it.
The billboard.
Yeah, and she said right now she can't disclose the advertising.
Still here, man. Still here.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't want to go off and leave your equipment. We just kept meeting because, we didn't want to leave your iPad.
Chris, would you be willing to, since you had reached out about the Highway 87 billboard, will you take next steps on that in terms of getting a contract to pass off to Victor?
Finding one, yes.
Okay.
And who's gonna do the one? The size board.
Luann,
She just said she's got it. Yeah.
I have that information, so it's just need a contract.
Okay,
Is
so
that correct? I'm asking, that's a question.
I believe so. The next step will be getting contracts, getting it to Victor and Tara to.
I can leave it up to me to make the decision if there's more than one choice, or if it's a good choice, or,
Yeah, well, we were looking at, I thought we were looking at just one.
well, she pitched 4 or 5 to me. I picked the one.
Oh, yeah, I mean, let's roll with the one, go five of it. If you guys are.
Yes.
Okay. So if you guys can get contracts in hand, copy, if you don't mind copying me for visibility,
Oh, no, of course.
and get them to Victor, or just send them straight to me and I'll consolidate and give them to Victor.
I'll do that, just so
I
there's
think that makes sense.
one point of contact and you know what's going on.
Chris.
Yeah, so same with Chris, if you can get a contract, just send it my way, and then I'll bring it out to the city.
And will we do an annual?
And the radio.
Yes.
The board and the radio.
Radio, we're looking at a proposal first.
You're looking at Cumulus and
Okay.
Yeah, so billboard we just voted, just
Just
one
one,
money.
okay.
We're gonna get contracts,
I'll
get
get
the city to sign them,
So who does the creative on the billboard?
it's gonna be us.
Well, it's us, and we can pay somebody. We have a real good board that we used before. I think I saw the picture. Might need tweaking, but they usually have an art department.
Yes, yeah, I was going to
And
say that's included.
I'm sure it is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't dealt with this before, there's no.
Usually,
Yeah.
usually their art department's pretty good.
Yep.
You know, they do a lot of it, so.
Okay, well, I'll get back with her today.
Yeah, we don't have to design it, we have to approve it.
Exactly, yeah.
And if you get one, a design from them, I'll get a design from Lindmark,
And we can,
and then we can choose, so, yeah.
Sure.
Well, and it should be family, right?
Yeah.
They should be in the same family. They should be very similar design.
Oh, we
Yes.
I think we should use the exact same design.
Well,
Okay,
the one here is
The one here is, yeah.
is like turn right now.
Yes.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
That's the next phase thing. But yes, we will control the creative, and that's gonna be the case for all of our advertising spends because the agency is single track right now.
Okay.
Unless we choose to spend more money on top of it to have somebody design it,
Yeah,
I think we have the skills in-house to get it done.
Well, and
And a lot of times it's included in the contract.
that's right, that's
But
right.
that's if we want their creative, sometimes it's not so great.
so do you want me to read it?
About joining the board, feel free, I mean, they have to go through an application process anyway.
Sure.
And it probably will take some time for the city to get everything posted and open, you know, for that seat.
I'll just,
So
I'll
you can just put a,
I'll plant the seed.
you can just put a bug in her ear.
Yeah.
Um,
She may not have time, you know, I have no idea. I know she's not going to until May.
Right.
okay, so we got a plan. Moving on, does anyone have any miscellaneous items for member?
I think you did a great job, Joe.
I do too.
Yes.
Specifically,
Yes.
I did want to just remind everybody again, you go to council later, if you have anything specific for me to present, you're welcome to stand up there with me if you want, I don't care.
I'm
Otherwise-
gonna send the audience and cheer you on.
Way to go, Joe.
Yeah. So I'm really just gonna run them down on, you know, what we did, like, in the last 6 to 8 months or whatever. Really wanna highlight the new website, because I don't know if everyone's aware that exists. And ongoing social stuff from the agency, where the agency stands, and then what we've been working on here recently.
And if I buy a bicycle, it'll be from use.
Cool. Got e-bikes.
What was our, just off the
Just
top of
aware
our
of
math?
that.
Yeah.
So we said 63 out of 16. We'd already spent 7,500 plus 2, so that's 9,500 of the money that was asked for of us. It's basically all arts, right? So we're talking about
For the
$80,000.
grant applications.
Yeah, about $80,000 thereabouts in grant
For
requests.
this year, 7,500 for Wellness Fest, to me, that's a rec. I don't know how the city allocated it, but that should be a recreational fund, and I adjusted our today's standing totals accordingly.
Okay.
So 7,500 for wellness should be out of recreation, and then Get Lit, yeah, 2K for arts and culture. And again, I adjusted this total, so starting at 18,000, went down to 16 today.
Yeah, so I was trying, so we had 18 total,
18.
and then we had 65 or 66 or something like that in request, is that right? 63 from today, but
Right.
2 from
Oh,
Get
from the
Lit.
board.
Yes.
Two from the board, yeah.
So that is what I'll be highlighting when I request that they move the money, is to say, here's the applications coming in and what bucket they would fall in, the vast majority arts and culture.
Yes.
We know that, I think council is already predisposed to fund Fancy Spider, and I think they would have,
I think they would do the same.
across the board.
I don't feel that way.
I
I don't know
think
why
they
they
feel
would
the
say,
same
no,
thing.
let the Mitchell hang.
I think that they,
No,
I think they
I don't
would
think they'll say
say
that.
for the
Yeah.
mainstream,
Yeah.
I do think,
Say about the
No problem.
concert series.
Oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
okay, well, there's nothing else miscellaneous. We'll take a motion to get us adjourned.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, turn off the camera.